Welcome. We're live. Sorry we're a bit late. We're talking before the show. It's good. We needed to. We don't have Cal, so we needed to sort out a few things. I'm going to be Cal. Read the questions and all that. We have a very special guest. We're going to skip the intro video. Forget that. I just want to go to the guest. So, Josh, you're here. Very excited. Tell the people. Just whatever you want to tell them. Anything you want.
Tyler, thank you. I would like to tell the people that I'm ready for this. I'm excited. And for those who don't know me, I'm the director of fantasy and gambling at the 33rd team. We'll be launching a brand new section of the site beginning of August. But until then, it seems like we are here for some Dynasty questions.
You want to tell the people more about that new project of yours?
Oh, yeah. If you want to give it more airtime, I won't say no.
Yeah. What? Why not? This, you only get to come on this, you're your special guest.
All right. So the 33rd team, it was a noble mission. It was originally the focus was Mike Tannenbaum and Joe Banner have been at the highest levels of NFL front offices. You can look up their resumes. They're pretty great. However, one thing that people that have worked in NFL front offices know, or people, you could probably speculate based on the sports industry, there's not always quite as many young voices as you might hope. And newer, diverse voices, I think, are just really important in any industry, particularly sports. So they started the 33rd team as a football think tank about 2 years ago. Basically, college students would intern under them, do some research, and then get hired to NFL teams. They had a really good success rate, actually, with that program. You can imagine if a former NFL GM calls someone up and goes, hey, I'm vouching for this person, there's a good chance that person can get hired. So then they decided that they wanted to make the mission even more noble, and they wanted to make more money and get into the fantasy gambling and betting space. We've got this new wing of the football side becoming the fantasy gambling betting site, and that is opening up at the start of August. And they figured that they wanted a really wholesome individual to lead the site that's going to involve a lot of money. And somehow they lowered their standards slightly. They chose me to do it. So
I was going to say, if they wanted a wholesome individual, I don't know.
So
they made a weird choice.
I don't know why they chose me, but yeah, I'm hiring a team and I'll be leading it. So we'll be announcing a lot of new hires coming up in the next few weeks, kind of systematically rolling those out. And I'm really excited. I haven't seen too many sites get the football and the fantasy right. Usually it's a lot more of like, we're a football site or we're a fantasy site. And I think there's a lot of people out there that like both. I mean, me personally, I really like watching football. I like talking football. Of course, I play in a ton of fantasy leagues, but
how many?
I think that, oh God, I mean, best ball is definitely my forte. I want to say I did just over 750 best ball drafts last year. I'll generally only do like 15 managed leagues a year. So I keep that in check. But in terms of drafting, I do a lot of drafts. Basically, anytime I'm working, I've got a lot of job apps that I'm going to be reviewing after this segment. I'll have a couple best ball drafts going while I'm reviewing those podcast samples. So it just never stops.
Are you still taking applications?
We are. Yeah, you can.
So that's a good point. So if you're watching the show, because I know there are plenty of people watching the show who are interested in creating content, whether it's for Josh, for DLF, for whatever. Mm-hmm. But the way that you get into the industry is by applying. I mean, I randomly applied just to a bunch of places when I started, and then I got, along the way that way. And, you never know. I mean, if you don't apply, then you can't get accepted, right? I mean, there's nothing to lose, right? The worst thing is you apply and it doesn't work out, and then maybe you apply somewhere else, or there's always people looking for content creators starting out. So you never know. Just take your shot, right? I mean, that's what I would say. I don't know.
100%.
If you have anything to add?
My DMs are open on Twitter. They've always been open, unless something.
I wish my DMs were open.
Unless after
the 7th death threat, I closed them. I will say.
Oh, I can. I've gotten where my count is much lower. I've only had one. I've had some pretty nasty ones. Only one death threat. So the DMs are open.
No. 7-1. I'm winning that.
Once I hit 7, like Tyler, maybe I'll close them down. But until then, we got 6 more to come. Yeah. So yeah, you can reach out, inquire about positions. I would say that strategy for applying and reaching out to me, as well as just anyone else in general, it's super important to demonstrate your value add early on. And I've posted a lot about it on Twitter in terms of how to position yourself. But think about it this way. If you reach out to me, to Tyler, to anyone else in this industry, and you're like, hey, bro, I have a serious passion for fantasy football. I am a super hard worker. Hire me. You are competing with hundreds and hundreds of other people DMing me literally the exact same thing. You don't want to do that. You're probably not going to win. Why would you race against 200 people when you could race against 5? So send me a writing sample of something that you think is pretty unique to your research. Position yourself as a more unique candidate. Do not send me the, hey, I like fantasy and I work hard, because guess what? I've never gotten a DM from
It
someone that
won't.
says, I hate fantasy. I don't want to work hard. Please hire me.
Well, we know that would never work. But I mean, I can give you a personal example, right? I mean, so I just added Conan as the co-host of my show. So
Mm-hmm.
why did I? He didn't apply. I offered it to him. But why did I add him? Right? What was different? Well, I mean, he did the whole trivia thing from his Twitter account. Like one day, that's Twitter account. So it was different, and I was like, okay, like I don't do this. Like Ryan is my other co-host. He doesn't do that. Like we don't do that. Like I'm never going to do
Mm-hmm.
that. I'm never going to be able to. I mean, I could, but it would take me. This is not my area of expertise. That kind of data, looking up stuff. That it would take me hours to come up with one question. So, that's why I added him to the show, because he offered something different. He had like a niche, and it was like something cool. And honestly, I feel bad that I haven't put enough of his segments on the show, but I will do that. We'll do that. But that's is a good example of, even though sometimes if you have something unique, it can just come out of nowhere, even if you're not applying. And yes, I did see this question. Sorry, I got here late. Where and how do we apply? Also, where's Cal? We'll start with where's Cal. Cal's at a baseball game. Cal's on a trip to California, and he's at a baseball game. I believe he's with his family. I'm sure he's having a great time, and he will be back next week. And next week it will be I don't know if Addison's going to join us, but it'll be me, Cal, and Ryan McDowell. So it'll be a very, very exciting show for Cal to come. Yeah, for Cal to come back to. So look forward to that. And then if Addison's not here next week, he will be here the week after, where we'll have Addison as our special guest. So very exciting. And yes, where and how do we apply? So how do we apply? Do they just DM you, or what do you?
Yeah,
what's
so
the best
you can
way?
either DM me if you want, Jay Larky tweets on Twitter, JLARKY tweets, or you can reach out to me via email, joshlarkey at the33rdteam.com. And that's 33rd 33RD. So
I
Josh
love that.
Larkey at the33rdteam.com. That you can apply that way. But yeah, like we said earlier, send me something unique. Do not send me a message that you think hundreds of other people will send me, or else you're going to look just like hundreds of other applicants. Send me something different, because I know that everyone applying is different. Even if you are the passionate fantasy football fan who likes to work hard, I am sure there is something else out there that you have done that is interesting and different from that cookie cutter image of the fantasy football bro out there. So please showcase that. That is what I'm looking for.
Yeah. It's hard. I mean, I've always wondered, like, what is it for me, really? Like what makes me different? Because that's really a lot of what I was at the start. I was just grinder. Like I
Mhm.
didn't really. My articles are good, not great. Or now they're better, but back in the day, I was just like writing a bunch of articles. I didn't think they were consistent and good. The best thing about them is that I wrote so many, and it was kind of like, I can keep doing this, but I guess I had to jump on the mic. I think I'm still not. I'm still learning a lot about how to do live content, and you can tell from this show that I'm definitely a little out of it without Cal. Feels weird. Cal really gets the best out of me, but
That's so sweet.
yeah, no, he really does. That's why we've worked together for so long, and I always miss him when he's not here. But it's just like trying to find that kind of extra gear. But yeah, it's hard. I still think about it every day. Is like, what is really special? Patreon a little bit, like that one-on-one working with people that I do. That's something that I do that a lot of people don't do. But even that, like, it's anybody could do that. So I do always feel like a little vulnerable. Like I could always be replaced. It's something I've always tried to work on a little bit more, like get something that's even a little bit more special about me, but I still, 3 years later, haven't really found it. So,
Mhm.
it's not easy, but it's why I would say, think about it. Maybe it would have been better if I'd started with that instead of just kind of grinding and doing it this way. So it's good
Mhm.
advice. I will say that if anybody's looking for advice on how to succeed in the industry, I would definitely ask Josh over me. Because a lot of the advice of what I've done has not worked for people I've given the advice to do the same. So I don't know. I think maybe I got lucky. but I don't, I haven't, I don't know how to replicate it really. So, whereas I feel like Josh is definitely could give you better advice than I could.
Yeah, I would just
I don't know
say,
how to explain it.
if you can have some type of technical skill, whether that's analytics, SEO, video editing,
Good point.
anything like that, I think can be really helpful, because that's just another way to kind of position yourself as, hey, I'm a video editor. There's not that many video editors. Yeah, there's a lot of people that play fantasy. Not everyone can edit videos.
I wish I could.
I think
dude.
that's
I
how,
wish I
oh,
could.
I wish I could too. Yeah, that would be a pretty nice tool in the toolkit. So things like that, you can always, I think, work on tangibly for people out there that are like, hey, I've got 5 hours a week and a site rejected me in my application. Well, you can put those 5 hours a week into learning video editing, SEO, like anything like that will always be really, really helpful. So that kind of stuff is just there's no substitute for knowing things that other people just don't know or haven't learned yet.
I always say, like, the less replaceable you are, the more, the more value you have. And that's, just something very important. And I'm very excited to see what comes from your new venture and all the stuff that you have coming out, because you're always someone I kind of look at to kind of see like good guidepost of maybe what I should be doing.
Thank you. Well, we're going to be free this year. So the entire summer 2022 season, all our content will be free. So if anyone wants to check it out, you don't have to empty up the wallet can stay hidden.
I love
we're
that.
just gonna want your email. You're gonna get phishing emails from us. So get ready. We're gonna sell you something later on.
What is this, an MLM?
Yeah, exactly. No, but year one, you can get all our tools, content, everything totally free.
I love that. All right. The people are probably about to kill me because Cal would not have let us talk this. Cal would have made us go to Dynasty questions 10 minutes ago, but he's not here. So I will now finally take us to Dynasty questions. I promise we will get to the questions. Put the questions in the chat. I've never let any of the questions go. All right. So from Rick. So we have our first question. Devonta Smith, J.K. Dobbins, and a 23 first for Breece Hall, a 12-team PPR Superflex. So what do you think?
So I'm immediately going for the package. And I'll kind of explain how I was thinking about this one. So Breece Hall, he's clearly the best asset out of all three of these. I don't think any of these are actually particularly close to Breece Hall. However, the 23 first is going to appreciate in value no matter what. And I always just like getting a pick. I think Breece Hall is worth a lot more than a 23 first. However, I think Devonta Smith's really, really good at football. He had a 22% target share as a rookie. That's pretty exceptional. Generally, super productive rookie wide receivers do nothing other than just keep appreciating in value year after year. It's a position that has fewer injuries, especially fewer long-term injuries than running back. It's also a position where there's much more longevity. So Devonta Smith's not really going to hit some type of like age cliff for many more seasons than Breece Hall, even though he's already been in the league more like for a full season. And then I think Dobbins, for the next year or two, he might give you similar enough production to Breece Hall. So I generally am in favor of these package deals when you're getting multiple very strong assets. I always hate holding the bag with these running backs because of how volatile their dynasty value can be. So in this case, I wouldn't say it's like some absolute smash, but for me personally and how I like to play, I'm leaning on the package. How about you, Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, the DLF analyzer has it, the package side by hundreds of points.
Oh, wow. There he is.
Yeah, I agree. Players I hate, though. Players I hate. It's two players I really hate. I mean, J.K. Dobbins, I'll believe it when I see it. I don't want to start hearing about, I don't know if you've heard me say this, but I'll say it again because I say it every show. I don't want to start hearing about a negative thing with an injury. Why is it taking a long time? He should be ready already. He should be ready, but he isn't ready. So why isn't he ready? We don't know. It sounds like now it's going to take a long time. And I don't want to hear about that. Once you have one negative thing about an injury, then it could be another and another and another and another. And that's often how it goes. And then, the value goes out the door. So I really don't like J.K. Dobbins. Devonta Smith, we know I don't like him. I don't like him because Jalen Hurts is going to have a tiny passing pie. We know that. We know that. What's the best case scenario? I mean, you tell me. You do projections, right? What's Jalen Hurts' best case scenario for passing yards, in your opinion?
So I'll tell you why I'm in on Devonta Smith. I didn't used to be. I did not like him as a prospect. However,
really,
I think there's a couple of promising things for his situation. I'm not going to lie and say like, oh, AJ Brown going there was just great. However,
It
if we
wasn't.
look
Yeah.
early last season, the Eagles were one of the absolute pass heaviest teams in the NFL. And then what happened? Their passing attack was pretty bad. They switched to a run heavy scheme. Their offense was way better. Okay. But it showed that early in the season, their goal was to pass more. And it turns out that when you have Jalen Hurts in his first full season as a starter, and you have Quez Watkins and Jalen Reagor playing heavy snaps, it makes
Jalen
sense that
Reagor.
your passing offense would not be very good. Devonta Smith, he was a rookie last year. He was very productive. Maybe they pass more this year. The trade for AJ Brown kind of signals they might want to. They extended Goddard. Now suddenly you have AJ Brown, the newly extended Goddard. You have Devonta Smith going into year 2. You have Jalen Hurts going into year 2 as the starter. He's got the full training camp as the starter. The offensive line looks like it's going to be improved. This could be a pretty potent offense. They might actually pass more than last year. I don't think it's going to be quite what the first half of the season was, but I think the passing pie is probably going to be a little bit bigger than this doomsday scenario that was the second half of last season. So for me, I think Devonta Smith's going to be at least number 2 on the totem pole.
I agree
And
with that.
I've kind of estimated like we'll give it 35% chance based on Larky's absolute random gut, 35% chance that Devonta Smith even out targets AJ Brown.
35.
He's the one that has the rapport with Hurts. He's going to be facing the weaker cornerback more often. So I think there is a bull case for Devonta Smith.
So I have for this year, AJ
Mhm.
Brown at wide receiver 7
Wow.
and Devonta Smith at wide receiver 37. So I clearly don't agree.
Yeah, you have them as like the opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, because I squint really. If I squint and look, and I look at the first 3 years of AJ Brown's career, just
Mhm.
take a look. Who does that remind me of? Who does it remind me of? I try to think of what career path do I see? And I squint and I see Julio Jones, a player that you knew was good, not good, elite, one of the best receivers in the league. But over his first 3 years, he didn't really put it together. If you look at the touchdown totals for Julio Jones, the first 3 years, 8-10-2, AJ Brown, 8-11-5. There was time missed in year 3 with injury. Both players are similar sizes. And honestly, both players have a lot in common. They're not that different. AJ Brown, I think, is elite level talent. And I think that if he can just stay healthy, you're injury prone until you're not, right? You're injury prone until suddenly you're not. And he hasn't missed that many games. I mean, AJ Brown's played 43 out of a possible 49 games. It's not like he's missed a lot of games. And every time he comes back, he's elite. Every time he comes back and plays, he's elite. So I just don't see that this offense. And you might say, well, the Falcons supported multiple, they had at times Julio Jones and then other receivers, but that was with Matt Ryan at his best, who could throw for 4,500 yards. Jalen Hurts is not throwing for 4,500 yards. Jalen Hurts, if you had lucky, throws for 3,700. So I just see it as a problem where there's an elite weapon and everyone else just gets smashed. And I feel bad for Devonta Smith because unlike you, I liked Devonta Smith as a prospect. He was a player I was higher on during the rookie process, I would say, than most. Some people they had concerns, obviously, with his size or his late breakout or his age or whatever, stayed in college for 4 years, all of those things. And I liked him. And I feel bad. He's kind of a player I feel bad for. And I haven't dropped him off the map in Dynasty because, situations change. And he could follow the Hollywood Brown path, which actually I think is what's going to happen, where he ends up out the door to an offense that suits his, talent a little bit better. So I wouldn't dismiss him, but none of that matters for this trade. I would obviously take the package either way, even if it's players I don't like.
You're just so negative on this. As a top 10 draft capital, 22% target share as a rookie, you're kicking him to the curb.
Not really. I mean,
Devonta Smith's rookie year, some of the peripherals were better than AJ Brown's rookie year. So I do think AJ Brown's almost certainly a better player, but I don't think it's etched in stone. I'll say that.
To me, it's pretty much etched in stone.
Okay.
I just don't. I've never seen Devonta Smith as having that kind of upside. So he didn't strike me as someone with an elite upside. He never did. And I don't see why that would change now. I mean, clearly he's now not the number 1 on his team. I mean, in Dynasty, I rank him wide receiver 29. So it's not dead and buried, but I assume that's lower than most. All right. I look forward to this show every Taco Tuesday. Do you know what Taco Tuesday stands for?
Isn't that just Taco Tuesday?
No, it's Tyler and Cal on Tuesday.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. And it's chill. We also have Waffle Wednesday because we have some listeners in Australia. So they call it Waffle Wednesday. But yeah, I can't wait to be watching this in September. I think you'll be watching this in September. Oh, speaking of, this is just such a random time to make an announcement, but I'll make it. I will be doing start sit shows for DLF on Sunday morning. So
congratulations.
You'll get to watch more. Yeah, actually nobody knew about that other than Addison and whoever he told. So yeah, I'll be doing that every week. Finally, we're going to provide some consistency to that slot. I struggled to commit to that every week last year, but I'm willing to do it this year. It'll be me alone most of the time. I might have a guest or two, but primarily I won't have a regular co-host. And it'll be a short show, but we'll have extra me during the season. So that'll be exciting. And yeah, this is the best Dynasty Fantasy Football show. I appreciate that. Thank you. And I learned so much from this. Yeah. Again, I appreciate that. Ooh, all right. This is going to be good. We have a good guess for this question. From Eric, what's one fantasy take any year that you were in the minority on, but ended up being 100% correct and ran victory laps? His was 2014 saying Doug Martin as a rookie was going to be a league winner. So you got like one where you were that guy holding the sword, like against the, you know that GIF, like the guy holding.
I know
which
one.
Yeah, on the horse. Yeah. So what's your moment where you did that and you were correct?
Oh, we're just gonna go last year. I felt like every quote unquote sharp analyst thought Leonard Fournette was Uncle Lenny. He was fat. He was sucked.
That's a good one.
He was left for dead. I have him on a crazy amount of dynasty teams. I had him on almost every redraft team when I could get him in the 11th round. I had him in like 35% of my 750 best ball teams last year. Uncle Lenny, I think, was the one where I kind of identified that he'd basically always been pretty incredible in fantasy, except for the year that he got cut, went to a new team, and then had a high ankle sprain really early on in the season. But that even once the ankle sprain was recovered, what did he do? He had a pretty historic playoff run in 2020 for the Buccaneers. Did things that we'd never really seen a fantasy running back do before. And then sure enough, within like 3 weeks, he was absolutely elite in fantasy and kind of relegated Rojo to pretty much no role. So
where he belongs.
Yeah, I like to think that
for the record,
that one to me seemed fairly obvious. I know most people were Team Rojo, but the way I see it is running backs score fantasy points two ways. One way, they get targets. The other way, they get goal line carries. Ronald Jones is allergic to high value touches. You can't give him touches at the goal line because he fumbles. And you can't give him targets because he has brick hands. To me, it seemed like an open and shut case that if there was a running back that was better suited to those high value touches last year, Fournette wins in both areas. And sure enough, he had pretty much the highest snap shares for a Tom Brady running back since I haven't looked at the snap shares, but from like way back in the day, but I assume
he's up there.
Corey Dillon would be like the only other Tom Brady running back that was getting that. Because I can think like the last like 6-7 years and there were no bell cows.
No, they did their 3-way split all the other years.
Yeah. So like, as I'm thinking, I'm like, I haven't pulled those up on like Pro Football Reference, but I assume the Dillon snap shares were probably pretty high. So yeah, I feel like Leonard Fournette's a pretty good running back if Tom Brady trusted him to be out there almost every single snap. So I'm going to victory lap Leonard Fournette. Congrats to everyone that was in on Uncle Lenny in Dynasty and Redraft last season.
I wish I had a better memory, like for what I was in on, and
that's why I went last year.
Yeah. Well, no, it's funny actually. I have a better memory from longer ago because I had fewer takes. The last couple of years, I had a take on everybody. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I do remember though, in 2019, being very excited by Terry McLaurin's interview in rookie camp, and being like, "All right, this is gonna be a guy. This is gonna be something." And like being insistent about it. And people were kind of not paying too much attention to him, but you know, that's definitely one. And then Philip Lindsay, that's how I got into Dynasty as well. Like, that was 2018. That was my first year playing. And I like picked up Philip Lindsay. I like did my research. And like, this was back in the day where there were sleepers. I still feel like things have changed now. Things have changed. In 2022, Philip Lindsay doesn't slide by. But in 2018, it was long enough ago that I just don't feel like there was the same saturation in the Dynasty content like market that there is now. Sleepers like that could still slide by. And like there was just like a couple articles in the Denver stuff, like talking about how he was going to be the third down back or whatever. And you know, I was able to slide him onto my team. And then week 1, obviously, he had a role. So that kind of like just that one because it got me into Dynasty. But it's just a couple. Oh yeah, 2012. All right. Would you trade Elijah Mitchell in a second for first and a third? Should be, yeah.
I mean, yeah, it seems like a smash to me.
Yeah, I'll take the first. I just
think with Elijah Mitchell, he doesn't have the draft capital. I love the opportunity share that he got last year. He was just dominating the touches whenever healthy. However, he's a 200-pound running back. He's in the Shanahan system, which means that they're basically doing one-cut runs at high speed with high-speed collisions in the zone blocking scheme. And if you're 200 pounds with a terrifying injury history in college and you missed, six games as a rookie due to injury as well,
yeah.
This seems like the kind of player that is just, I just don't really target that archetype in Dynasty. So if I can get a first, which is guaranteed to appreciate in value, Elijah Mitchell, there's a lot of paths where his stock declines this year. So
what do you think of Tyrion Davis-Price?
I mean, he's fine. I don't like him that much. I have a ton of him in Dynasty just because I thought his profile was better than Sermon's for what the Niners want. Yet he was going like 2 to 3 rounds later in rookie drafts at times than Trey Sermon last year. And it seemed like this wild overcorrection where I was like, hey, I don't even. So like when I was on the FTN stream for the NFL draft this past year, the pick got announced. And I was on the stream with Chris Meany. We were leading it together, and he goes, "Yeah, I was the deep sleepers guy because I'd done more research." And he goes, "Josh, talk to me about Tyrion Davis-Price." And I was like, "Dude, I researched like 30 running backs. I don't know who this is." So clearly, like this was not some great prospect profile.
I didn't expect. Yeah, I was also live when that happened, and I was not ready. I was not ready to discuss Tyrion Davis-Price.
Yeah, I was like, "Who is this?" And then
how many people were on your stream?
Yeah, it was. So we had a lot of guests, but we were the 2 co-hosts throughout. So
yeah, I had a packed house. I think I had 8 or 9 of us.
Okay, so you had someone out there probably that was like, I know who this is. Yeah, so I was looking it up and I was like, okay, he was listed at almost 230 pounds, but then he ran at the combine at 211. Clearly, this is.
I read an article about that recently.
Yeah, I was like, this is someone where the tape people probably can't weigh in too much because whatever you saw on tape, people were like he was sluggish on tape. And I'm like, well, you ran a 4.48 at the combine at 211. This seems to me like he's kind of a change of pace slasher back. If he's on the 4.4s at 211, that's kind of a good fit for the Niners. He offers 0 as a pass catcher, but the crazy discount compared to what Trey Sermon was last year, I was like, hey, looks like I'm going to have a lot of him in Dynasty.
Yeah, he's way undervalued in Dynasty, so I definitely like him. Oh, apparently Michael Carter and a second were involved in this trade, but it doesn't change my answer.
I mean, I just Michael Carter's so dead. The
I know.
People out there, I'm like, oh, I didn't realize you want the guy who's an inferior runner and an inferior pass catcher, who's also slower and smaller. Interesting.
Yeah, he's worse in every way. I don't know why.
Exactly. Yeah.
People would want him.
Yeah, if the guy is worse in every single way, that's generally a pretty glaring avoid.
Oh, there's our Waffle Wednesday. And yeah, hit the like and subscribe. Addison gets his wings. We hit 7K on the DLF channel.
Oh, congrats. That's a lot.
Yeah. No, Addison's very happy about that. No. So you would take Akers and Amon-Ra?
Yeah, I just don't really want McCaffrey in Dynasty.
McCaffrey.
The way that I think about it is I think he's an okay bet in redraft. Could he have a good season? Sure. Do I think that the archetype of the absolutely ridiculously high volume usage running back who's only 200 pounds and has played 10 games in the past 2 years, is that someone I want to bet on having a long career? No.
Probably not.
So like in redrafts, like I'm okay taking him early. Like could he just randomly pop? Or could he like miss 6 games this year, but then he comes back for the final 4 games of the season, gives you like 30 fantasy points a game? Yeah, that could happen. I don't want to be out on him in redraft, but Dynasty, this is just not a guy I love. What I like to go back to is I think what broke him was it was the first half of 2019. He had 165 carries in the first 8 games of the season. That is a 330 carry pace for a 200-pound running back. That is just gross negligence on the Panthers'
I think we
part.
thought he wasn't human.
And I think that broke him.
Yeah.
That half a season, I'm convinced it broke him. I don't want this guy in Dynasty. I think Akers is going to be the lead back for the Rams. I think Amon-Ra is a total stud. It's going to be fantasy relevant for the next decade.
I like Amon-Ra.
Yeah, I just don't really want.
Yeah.
Like it's not like I'm 100% out on McCaffrey, no matter what the trade is. But like, if you're giving me good assets, I'm just going to take the good younger assets over McCaffrey.
Yeah, I feel like McCaffrey's worth more than this.
You think so?
Yes.
Interesting.
But I don't know if he actually.
What would you want? What would you want them to add?
I would want one of those two players to be better. Probably Amon-Ra to be better. Like, can Amon-Ra be Treylon Burks instead? I might be more interested then.
Oh, I think I'd rather have Amon-Ra than Treylon.
Really? No, I wouldn't.
Yeah, I think like Amon-Ra showed he was good in the NFL. I mean, Burks might not be good. I think he's going to be good, but
I'd still rather have Burks. I get it though. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll take the first round guy over the guy who had a first round guy added to his team.
Fair enough.
So, I'm a draft capital snob.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I like Tyrion Davis-Price.
Yeah, so you got a third round draft capital.
Yeah.
On a run heavy team. What more do you want?
Yeah, but that's why I have him ranked over guys like Zamir White or Tyler Algier.
Same. Yeah, Algier is just like, what are we doing, people?
Yeah,
this guy got 5th round draft capital, and it's a terrible.
He's the next Javian Hawkins, though, right? I mean,
he's going to be replaced. Just you wait. Like if you thought it was shocking that Michael Carter got replaced, then just you wait for Tyler Algier next year.
I don't think he's even going to get a chance. All right, what is this? From Reed, 12-team Superflex, start 10. Jalen Hurts and Jonathan Taylor. Oh, this is a good question. For Lamar, Dobbins, and Mike Evans. Wow. That's
holy balls. I mean,
that's brutal.
What does start 10 mean? You start 10 players?
Start 10 players.
They won't tell us which players. They're just 10 flexes.
No, yeah, I would. They're not gonna tell us that. Yeah, we don't need that. I guess to make a decision. Man, this is brutal.
So let's try and break this down. Would you rather have JT or Lamar in Superflex? I think I want Lamar by a little bit.
By a little, yeah, not by that.
Okay,
much.
So we've got that side winning, and then Hurts for Dobbins. And I think I've just talked myself into the Lamar, Dobbins, Evans side. I just think Lamar is such a singular asset because I think the job security is there. Like whether he's with the Ravens or another team long term. Hurts, I think just Hurts is a volatile asset for this year. I love Jonathan Taylor, but
I think if you translated this into startup picks and look at where they actually went, you would take the left side.
I think you would, yeah. But
Hurts and Taylor. But the problem is I wouldn't take Hurts where he's going. But I'm not exact. But again, neither Dobbins nor Evans are players that I'm high on, especially not Dobbins. Evans. This is a weird trade. I mean,
you know what? I'm gonna go push as I'm thinking about it more.
I will say that let's start this over. Let's think about it this way.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say I was starting because I'm not going to. My answer is going to be that I'm not going to do this trade either way. Let's say I was starting with the Lamar side. I'm not trading Lamar for this. I don't want to do that. I want to keep Lamar and just get rid of Dobbins and Evans another way. Mm-hmm. Another way. So if I'm starting with that side, just forget this. Get rid of Dobbins and Evans another way. And we can talk about how to do that. If you're starting with the other side, I'm less inclined to make a trade at all. If I'm starting with the other side, I don't have the same desire to move Hurts or Taylor that I do Dobbins or Evans, especially Dobbins. But I would explore options to move Hurts. But Hurts I've never seen get the trade value that I really want. So, it might be if I'm on the left side, I'll just hold what I have. If I'm on the right side, I would try to just put Dobbins and Evans on the block and not have to move Lamar. I really do not want to trade Lamar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Lamar's a cornerstone asset. You can't replace that.
Yeah, I'm still leaning the right side the more I think about it. But I think if you really think that you're one of the best teams in your league, the left side's a fine place to be for at least this year. You're going to get what I think is probably a top 5 quarterback and a top 5 running back for this year. That's pretty amazing.
I just think JT is so good. Like JT, I think is going to give you, he's only 23. I think he's going to give you 2 or 3 years at least of top 5 running back, whereas Dobbins could give you nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think JT's
confidence in Dobbins.
I think he's kind of like that one unique running back where he could tear his ACL right now, and his dynasty value really wouldn't take that much of a hit.
It
Just
wouldn't, no, it
because,
wouldn't go that much down.
I mean, like it obviously would hurt him, but I think he's the most resistant right now to a major injury. He's kind of like a wide receiver in that way, where like if Chase or Jefferson tore their ACL, yeah, it's not going to help their dynasty value, but it's not like we're going to be like, oh
Not
my
gonna hurt
God,
him, yeah.
plummet the guy. So yeah.
People are more fickle now than they ever were, though.
Mhm.
It's almost like people have become more fickle. All right. Ooh, brutal. Would you trade Kirk Cousins for a 23 first super flex? Quarterback room is Herbert, Lance, Cousins, and Goff. I don't know if that matters. Would you trade Cousins for a 23 first?
Yeah, I think I would, just in general. I think his
I
trade
have
value
to,
is
though.
really high right now. And
Why is that, though?
I think it's because they've got the new Rams offensive coordinators coming in there.
It's not going to help him.
And like I think it could help, but I don't know. I don't think
Is he-
Cousins is necessarily winning you your league.
No.
And I think the 23 first could be a player that helps you win your league, especially if you already have Herbert, Lance, and Goff. At this point, you can win this year with that quarterback core. And you have the first just gaining value on your bench. I like this deal. I think I don't know if it's like selling 100% high on Cousins, but I think it's getting at least fair market, if not above market value for him. I think it's a pretty good trade to just take that
Yeah.
first.
I'd try to get more. I always try, but
Mhm.
it's going to be hard. I think just getting a first is hard.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
would agree.
5 rounds into a 12-team Superflex startup. The team is Trevor Lawrence, Mac Jones, Brees, Ken Walker. AJ Brown, I really don't like that. AJ Brown and 2 extra 23 firsts. I like that. And 2 picks coming up on this. What? How do you?
So there's no, what is there? Just, this is just gloating. There's no question attached.
Yeah,
to this
there's no
one?
there's no question. There's no question.
Congrats, C4TZ3R0.
Cat 0, yeah.
Or Cat 0. Good start. I like that one.
We congratulate you, but there's no question there. Okay, Jaden, how are you feeling about the 23 quarterback class in comparison to quarterbacks like Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson? Thinking about punting quarterbacks in a startup in hopes of the 23 class. This is an interesting question. I will say as a prospect, there will be no Trevor Lawrence in next year's class, but there wasn't a Trevor Lawrence in any class. I mean, there was Andrew Luck and there was Peyton Manning, and that was it. So that's how many of those there were. There's not going to, and see how well it worked out so far, right? I mean, even the best prospect is not a guarantee. Zach Wilson, I don't know how to even where he stacks up. I mean, I don't know. Would you say compare it to like 2021, I guess? Like, would you say what? Like Young and Stroud have the ability to be on the level of Fields or Lance as prospects, or do you think there could be better?
I'm not so I don't do a ton of like Devy type research.
Neither do
I'm not
I.
watching the college game.
Yeah, neither do I.
I know there's a ton of hype around him.
I'm
Why don't we
firing
just say that?
blind
Let's
mostly.
just say that they're similar to Fields and Lance coming in. Where
That's
these
what I've
guys,
said in the
yeah,
past. So I
where
feel
they're
good about
not
it.
quite the Trevor
Not a
Lawrence,
lock.
but we know that
Yeah.
this is an elite quarterback prospect for dynasty purposes. The way I think about this, yeah, I think the 2023 quarterback class is a good one to target, just because we have now seen Lawrence and Wilson be bad in the NFL. And it's Wilson, he's in an incredible situation now. But I think it
it's put
also
up or
means
shut up time.
that if he's bad again, which I think is more than likely the case, I think he's done. That if they're like, hey, we gave you
don't think so.
Brees Hall, we gave you Garrett Wilson, you have Elijah Moore coming back, we gave you multiple tight ends, the offensive line's getting better. And I think that if he doesn't do very well, I think he's immediately like in this Daniel Jones territory where the dynasty value just takes a huge hit and it's hard to rebound. And then with Lawrence, I'm like, yeah, I understand it was Urban Meyer, terrible circumstances. Peterson is just an incredible head coach upgrade. They did stuff, we'll call it stuff, in free agency this year. But we also have a 1-year sample of him just not being good in the NFL. So to me, I would kind of roll the dice on the 2023 class in a package. Like I wouldn't say like Trevor Lawrence for an early 23 first is fair. You want Lawrence. But I think it's, to me at least, it's the right idea to potentially start thinking about how to package someone like Lawrence for a 23 first plus a Cousins. Like I would take a 23 first and Cousins over Lawrence.
Oh, I would have to think about that. It's close value wise. 23 first is so
Mhm.
valuable. I'd have to think about that. That's very
Mhm.
close. I don't know. I mean, I still believe in Trevor Lawrence. Zach Wilson, not so much. But he's probably a better, no, I don't know, stuff. Justin Fields is the one I want to get rid of because Justin Fields is the one who actually could be replaced, not Zach Wilson.
Oh, really?
Players
I think Wilson's more on the hot seat just because at least like
no
with Fields,
players
the,
picked in the top 3 almost always get 3 years. Justin Fields was picked at 11. It's not the same thing as 3 or 2 in this case. It's not the same. You see players picked outside of the top 10. You could have, I mean, where was Dwayne Haskins picked? I think it was 11, wasn't it? And then, he was year 2 was already being pushed out the door. And there are other players who were picked. You don't get the same level because you can pick at 10 again. You don't get to pick 1, 2, or 3 very often. So, and at this point, Joe Douglas is still the GM there, isn't he? And his job's on the line. He's not Robert Saleh. This is now year 2 with Zach Wilson. His job's on the line. He's not getting another quarterback. He's not getting a chance. Those two are not getting a chance with next quarterback. This is not the Bears, where Matt Nagy gets chance after chance after chance to ruin multiple quarterbacks. Maybe he should have attended the quarterback meetings. He didn't go to the quarterback meetings. He should have gone. But they're not going to get a chance with another quarterback. They're tied to Zach Wilson. If they can't make Zach Wilson succeed, they're going to be out the door. So I think that, they have Saleh is on year 2. I think they have him on a 3, that's usually most coaches get 3 years. It's not like he was a bad coach. I don't think the organization sees that he was the problem last year. And I don't know if they're necessarily at the point of blaming Zach Wilson yet. So for a top 3 pick, I think that, unless he's so bad that they're the number 1 pick, maybe they would consider it. Whereas Justin Fields, I think that his job's on the line. If he doesn't win more than 5 games, I think he's gone. I think he'll be gone. I think he will start for another club. But if they have a top 2 pick, he's done. They're not even going to think about it.
So my worry with Wilson, I think the Jets are going to be bad this year. I think that's most likely. This just doesn't look like a great roster on paper still. Like they're building something. I think the Jets are going to get a pretty high pick in the draft. And I think that if Zach Wilson doesn't do well, they're just going to take a quarterback really high and go, hey, we're just going to airdrop a talented rookie into this system because we're starting to build a real machine in place. I think with the Bears, they're just in this weird spot where I think they're still years away from contending. And I don't think that you should take a rookie quarterback next year. If the team sucks, even if Justin Fields isn't great, good. You just keep him in there again, see if he improves. And if not, you just get another high pick in 2024. I think the Jets timeline is pretty accelerated compared to the Bears based on the rest of the roster and how the contracts are sequenced. So I think because, to me at least, Fields looked a little better than Wilson as a rookie, showed more flashes, and with where their rosters are at, I think it actually makes more sense for Wilson to be on the hot seat if they both have equally terrible seasons. Both teams pick top 5. I think the Jets could talk themselves into just airdropping a rookie in there.
The Jets won't do it. I know they won't do it. As someone from here, I mean, they stuck with year 3 of Sam Darnold. They stuck with year 3 of Sam Darnold, who was really bad in years 1 and 2. They hang on too long, but the Bears are such a disaster that who knows what they're going to do. But yeah, I would say Zach Wilson is someone who carries risk for sure, because if he's not good this year, even if he doesn't get replaced, he's going to lose most of his value. He's going to be in kind of that scary range. Think of where Daniel Jones was after 2020. What was Daniel Jones worth after 2020?
Fields is also super mobile. That gives him a lot of outs. Like Hurts is on the hot seat this year, and he still has a ton of dynasty value considering that this is a below average quarterback, but it's because he's super mobile. And I think that will help Fields where anytime he's starting, you'll be like, you know what? This is probably someone I want to play in fantasy football because he's crazy mobile. Wilson doesn't quite have that mobility. There's just, to me, it just seems like there's fewer outs for him to actually score fantasy points in addition to his rookie season was just dreadful.
It was really bad. It was
so bad.
Really, really bad. I will say, though, that Justin Fields now has a coach who's actually going to go to the meeting. He will go to the meeting. So it's an improvement. Although I have criticized the Bears everything everything,
Mhm.
including trading for N'Keal Harry. I published a video today on my channel. I published the video. I didn't have anything nice to say about it because I haven't had anything nice to say about the Bears all offseason. I mean, they didn't do anything. They didn't do anything. I mean, they've shown how incompetent they are, and they need a change at the ownership. That's what they need, is a change in ownership, because until it's like Washington or,
Mhm.
to some degrees the Jaguars, the Washington is the worst, and then the Bears are up there with them.
I'd agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, you need a change in ownership. Otherwise, you're just going to hire the same. I mean, they did not make good hires at general manager and head coach. I don't think so. They didn't hire an offensive minded head coach to help develop Justin Fields at all. They didn't provide any talent around him. They didn't even try. And then they picked Velus Jones, who is so old that, N'Keal Harry, who they just traded for, is younger than he is, 6 months younger, 3 years in the league, 6 months younger than Velus Jones. So the people should know Velus Jones is also older than Darnell Mooney.
That was another one actually on the draft stream. He got announced, and I was like, I'm not sure.
I did research him. I did research him because he was getting buzz in the couple of weeks before the draft that he was going to go on day 2. And I was like, this is insane. But I did research him, and I was like, this guy sucks. I'm sorry. I have nothing. There's nothing there. It's terrible.
The profile's so bad.
There's no positive. I don't get it. Like, I don't get what they saw. I really don't. Like, no one's ever really been able to explain it to me. Like with Tyrion Davis-Price, I can understand. He went to LSU. I mean, there's something. There's something there. He got touches at LSU. There's something. You can kind of tell yourself a story. It's a running back. With Velus Jones, no one's really been able to explain to me, outside of a Bears reporter, biased source much. No one from the Dynasty community, no one from anywhere has really been able to tell me what is there to like about Velus Jones? What is there? No one has been able to answer that question. They've just been like, well, Justin Fields likes him. Well, that makes it a good pick. And I'm like, oh yes, we allowed Patrick Mahomes to evaluate the 2020 running back class, and they ended up with Clyde Edwards-Helaire over Jonathan Taylor. So I'm not sure that relying on the quarterback's assessment of the wide receiver is the best strategy. But that's just me. I don't know. Got offered Juju for Gage. No, this is a good question. Didn't want to take it right away, and the offer got withdrawn. Did I make a mistake? Did you make a mistake?
I would take Gage. That's probably a hot take.
And I hate Juju.
Yeah, so I really don't like Juju. With Juju,
you hate him more than me.
He's really been on the decline the last few years. This is a very limited slot-only player. And what did we see in free agency? What do you get? 1 year, $3 million guaranteed.
You sound like me. I've said this so many times.
I just think that to me just signals that teams do not view Juju as a premium player. They're not playing Dynasty. They're playing real life. I understand as Dynasty people, we're like, oh, look at what he was. He was a good prospect, and then he was so productive early on. But the thing is, like, we're going back to a 2018 season. 2018, that's 4.5 years ago.
A long time ago.
Last time that we saw him being good. I understand that he gave some fantasy points 2 years ago. However, the PFF receiving grade was atrocious. The efficiency was atrocious.
Fourth to last or something.
Yeah, it was just all really.
And you look at every route. Every route, does he win on any of them? No.
He wasn't winning on anything.
He didn't win on anything.
So to me, it just seems like this is a player that is on the tail end of his career as a starting receiver. If he's getting 1 year for $3 million, Gage, on the other hand, got a pretty hefty 3-year contract. He 30, was not it was like 3 for 30. He was not a receiver in college. He is very, very late to the position. What did we see last year? He had more targets per game than rookie phenom Kyle Pitts. He had a 22% target share in his 14 games played.
Every year improved.
This is an ascending player. Reception perception, really likes Gage. Tom Brady, who I think is a great talent evaluator, really likes Gage. He saw him play 2 times a year the last couple seasons in the NFC South when Buccaneers and Falcons played. And he said, hey, I'm going to call this guy up and I want him on my team. That to me signals that teams out there, players like Tom Brady out there, view Gage as a premium secondary option in a receiving game. And this is obviously, he's not like the wide receiver 1 in a receiving game. Neither is Juju, obviously, with the 1 year, $3 million. But to me, I'm going to bank on Gage. I think he's going to outproduce Juju this year. And I think that there's still room for growth with this type of late bloomer profile. We've seen it with guys like Thielen before. I think Gage is the the guy that is much more likely to increase his dynasty value. I think there's a good chance he just outscores Juju this year as well. And we could see Juju just fall off a cliff in dynasty. If he doesn't have a good year this year, he's done. Gage, it's fine. He's got the big contract. He'll come back next year. I know it's like a total hot take, but I feel like I'm selling this pretty logical case for why Russell Gage is the one that you want.
The people know how much I hate Juju. And if the people didn't realize, I don't think Josh watched my case for hating Juju. It sounded a lot like yours, actually, by the way, almost word for word. Literally the same talking points, all of them. So we agree. It's interesting also that we just kind of came up with that like independently. But yeah, you can go to any show and there's going to be there's a Juju segment where I talk about never open. Every route is red everywhere. If you look at the chart, it's all red. And then you can look at the abysmal yards per target every year is going down. Every year is bad, and then you can look really Juju. What he is it's just Tyler Boyd with a fancier name. It's Tyler Boyd who's on TikTok. That's all it is. That's all he is. It's nothing else. He's just a slot receiver who's overrated and who is very entertaining. And I said many times that I thought that Juju should retire from the NFL. I think he could make more. He could make more money. I think he should. Why take the hits? You want to be miserable the rest of your life? You want the brain damage? I don't want that. He is a dynamic personality. He should retire and go make big money, which he can make more of, I will say, doing his other things than he can doing this. That's what he should do. He's not going to, but he should. And I've said that before. And, I complimented Le'Veon Bell today on finally making a good business decision and not returning to play the NFL and exploring his boxing career, which I think he has a better chance of. I do like him over Adrian Peterson in this upcoming match. She's a little younger. We'll see. I'm very excited. I'm going to watch that. We'll talk about it on the show. Okay, this one we answered. Tyreek for ETN. Where are you on ETN?
I think I'd lean ETN.
You
I
would?
think Tyreek Hill.
Okay. Interesting.
He's pretty up there in age. He's in his late 20s. He relies on
March
speed.
94.
And I don't think he's going to do very well this year. He's competing for targets with Jalen Waddle, who all he did was set
like a number rank on that. You say like what rank would you rank him in redraft? Say.
Well, I know like guys that go. So I'll tell you some guys that go after him.
I have him at 10 to give you an example. 10th wide receiver 10. Consensus, I believe, has him at 7. So I don't know if those are some guideposts for you.
Yeah, I just think guys like Mike Williams have more upside, even if we go that far down.
Interesting.
The offense is much better. I trust Herbert much more. I think Mike Williams is ascending. We saw him enter a new role last year and he crushed. Tyreek Hill, on the other hand, he's playing with Tua. Tua has shown absolutely nothing. He's competing with Jalen Waddle, who's at the rookie receptions record this past year. He had a 25% target share. Waddle also did all of that recovering from a broken ankle. So he's most likely going to be way better and more explosive this year than he was as a rookie when he already smashed. I think Tyreek Hill, it's pretty 50-50 who's better between him and Waddle. And he's playing on what I think is going to be an average to below average offense. I just don't like, I think I'd probably put, I don't know. He probably like, I don't know. I'd put him in like the wide receiver 11, 12 range. Like it's not anything crazy. I just don't think that the upside's really there for, I think Tyreek's kind of like a low ceiling, good floor play this year. I just don't see the ceiling in this offense.
Well, I mean, there is a ceiling. If Tua takes the year 3 leap that we don't think he's going to, and then he throws for 4,500 to 4,600 yards and 40 touchdowns, then Tyreek has the ceiling to be top 3. So like it's there. The universe is not.
Yeah,
not that
I think
hard
it's unlikely with ETN.
Oh, I agree with you that it's unlikely, but it's not that hard to imagine.
Yeah, I just like ETN. I like targeting the young pass catching running backs that will also most likely get all the goal line work. He's going to get the high value touches, and I think with ETN, like we just saw his dynasty value rebound pretty nicely from a pretty lethal injury with the foot.
He's lucky though. If James Robinson never tears his Achilles, the dynasty value doesn't come back because James Robinson was killing it. ETN got lucky. If James Robinson finishes the 2021 season the way it was going, Travis Etienne does not gain the dynasty value back.
Yeah,
that's the only
true.
reason. So it is scary. It is scary that that's the only reason why. Like that we're relying on someone else being hurt for the dynasty value. It is scary because we know the track record of players who miss their entire first year to injury is nothing. I mean, who is the last player who did that and then was good?
Yeah, but there's also like, it's a small sample of
it is a small sample.
His fantasy football prospect profile was
there are a few who were pretty good prospects. With I mean, Darius Geis is the biggest example, but he failed for he failed for a lot of reasons. And then Kevin White obviously is the other one. The legendary Kevin White. But it is hard to come up with anyone who's good anytime recently. But I still have Tyreek Hill ranked higher. You're right. I don't like it.
I go ETN by a smidge. Like I just looked at it and I was like, yeah, I want ETN slightly. I think if you
can get
take
more,
either side, it's fine.
You can get more for Tyreek than this because there are people, and Tyreek's ADP says that there are because it's still in the top 2 rounds. It's too high. Tyreek is a sell for me, but there are people who are still valuing Tyreek as a premium asset. So I would hold out for more than this, and that's why I still have him ranked somewhat highly because the value he's still hanging on to it. But I would like to get Tyreek off my team immediately.
Yeah, I think he's the quintessential sell candidate, like the late 20s speedster who gets this like significant quarterback downgrade and most likely significant play calling downgrade.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Like I will say that Mike McDaniel is the opposite of Eberflus, a disaster over there. But Mike McDaniel is a coach that I think is great. I think he's going to be great. I just don't know if he's, you can't turn shit into gold.
I think it'll be good too. But I mean, we have a track record now of multiple years of Andy Reid being like one of the 2 or 3 most fantasy friendly coaches in the NFL.
Andy Reid is going to the Hall of Fame. It's not fair.
So I think McDaniel will be good.
Compare a new, it's not fair to compare a new head coach to. I mean, Andy Reid is one of the best coaches of my lifetime. Really, I mean, him, Belichick. I mean, there aren't. Andy Reid has just been so successful for so long, despite not always having the best talent. I mean, he was great with Alex Smith, wasn't he? And Alex Smith is nothing special, but they made the playoffs, I believe, every year with Alex Smith. So it's at some point you actually have to give him some coaching credit because it's not like he's not always had Patrick Mahomes. So it's interesting. Definitely, but I agree with you that it is a play calling downgrade for now. But Mike McDaniel is a coach that I believe in, so I do like him. You can make money writing about fantasy. I got to get out of Canada. It's funny. I've actually never written articles for free. So I guess I wouldn't know, but yeah. I mean, obviously I get paid for articles at DLF. I get paid for the show. So yeah, it's something that there are definitely like spots out there that'll pay you to start off. It's harder now. There's definitely more unpaid starts now than there were. I know you're big about paying people for their work. And I wanted to give you a shout out for that because I've always seen you like talk about that, and it's something I really respect. So the people should know that. But yeah, I do understand also if you're passionate about it and all you can find is like something unpaid and you really want to do it as a hobby, like, and it's something you want to do and it's not like putting too much of like strain on your life otherwise, do it. Like I don't want to tell people not to do it just because they're not getting paid.
Yeah, so I've kind of gotten some shit for this take at times because I think some people try to take the nuance out of it. So I'm a huge advocate for people getting paid. I hate these unpaid internships where you're working these crazy hours and you're not getting paid because ultimately, I think that all that does is it makes white males from rich families break into the sports industry because their parents help subsidize them. And I don't really like that. I think that when you're putting in the like major hours, you should always be paid. I will always advocate that any type of serious role where it's like 10, 20, 30 plus hours a week, you should be getting paid well for that. However, if you're starting out and you're writing for a small site, I do not think the small site has to pay you. And I think that's where it gets controversial. And some people go, oh, you should always get paid for your work. Honestly, if you're putting in 2 hours a week to write one article, this is not equivalent to, oh, you're discriminating against everyone that doesn't have piles of money saved up. No. Some people like to shoot hoops on the weekend. Some people like to write a fantasy article. If you are literally putting in like 2 hours a week to see if you enjoy it and you're meeting and making some friends and you throw it up on someone's site, are you technically giving them some traffic to their site? Yes. Are you also exploring a new hobby and seeing if you enjoy it? Yes. So I think at the very early stages, I am not an advocate for forcing small sites to pay. I will always be an advocate, though, of large sites with a lot of money. They should always pay no matter what. But if you're a tiny little site, I understand how you can't necessarily always pay, because then we're also gatekeeping. Then if it's like, oh no matter how small you are, you need to pay a living wage per article. I'm like, well, then we're only going to have rich people starting these sites.
Yeah,
So like that creates its own problems. So it's kind of a nuanced stance. But yes, in general, I'm always an advocate of people getting paid, especially at the larger sites. And especially no matter what you're doing, if you're working many hours a week, you should always be paid.
I plan to, when my YouTube channel is monetized, I still need like 100 something subscribers for that. So if you're watching this on my channel, because it's simulcast on there, subscribe.
Yes, subscribe.
And subscribe to this channel as well. But when it's monetized, I will share some percentage of it with my co-hosts, but I can't pay my co-hosts because my YouTube channel hasn't made a single dollar in the time it's existed. There's no, what am I paying them from? I haven't made any money doing from my YouTube channel, so I can't pay them if there's no money, right? Like it doesn't work that way. You can't pay from zero. Like whatever percentage of zero is zero. So there's nothing I can do about that. But no, when the YouTube channel is monetized, I will share it to some degree with my co-host, whatever is decided on that. Whatever. But like I want to do that. But again, whatever percent of zero is zero. So I can't do that right now. That's part of why I want to monetize the YouTube channel, so I can actually pay my co-host something. That's not, like, I kind of feel bad to a degree. But I guess they're doing the same thing that I am on the channel, which is working for free, because that's what I'm doing when I'm on my own channel. So I guess in that way I don't feel too bad about it. Anyway, from Peyton, Dynasty 12 team, 1 QB PPR, Lamb and Pitts or Higgins, Saquon in a top 323 first. Ooh, interesting, man. I think this is really going to come down to how you see Saquon, right? Because if you see Saquon the way I do, it's going to be the other side. Well, top 3, how guaranteed?
It's just so tough. Let's say Lamb and Higgins are similar enough. Like, I think we can. They're not to you.
No.
Who do you prefer?
Lamb.
Oh, really?
Interesting. It's not even close. Yeah. Well,
I mean, who scored more fantasy points last year?
I understand that, but
who's got the better quarterback?
I don't know if I agree with that. But on the better quarterback part of it.
Why do you have them so different if they're both entering year 3 and Higgins had more fantasy points last year?
Because Jamar Chase is only going to get better, and the target share is the target share split's going to become even worse. And also Amari Cooper's gone. So that I think, Lamb's target share is going to increase, whereas T. Higgins, I think, was capped out. Like nobody left. And I just think that Jamar Chase is that was the rookie year. And you saw, I always look at Justin Jefferson's, not that they're comparable players, but if you look at Justin Jefferson's rookie year to the sophomore year, the volume significantly increased. And the production increased as well, but the volume significantly increased. Many more receptions, many more targets. And the biggest increase actually came from added volume, added target share. So I think Jamar Chase is going to be the same way. And I do think that T. Higgins, I rank him for Dynasty very high. I believe I have him at very high, 8. But I have Lamb at 3. And they're not in the same tier. So I do see them as different. But again, I really think, how guaranteed is that top 3? Like, that's always a tough thing when someone includes that. It's like, how sure are you? Because I guess if I knew that for sure, I might take that side.
Yeah, if I knew it for sure, I think I'd lean that side. If it's just a 23 first, oh my goodness, it's so tough.
If it's 23 first, it's easy to leave the other side for me.
I don't even know. Actually, I'm thinking about it more. Oh, it's so difficult. I think Higgins and Lamb to me are basically the same. I think there's a huge group of tier 2 receivers for me in Dynasty. Like I just don't have a ton of like super strong player takes for dynasty purposes. Like I think Jefferson and
Well,
Chase
I
are
do.
so clearly up here. They are like, where's my camera? There it is. So clearly up here. And then we've got, I don't know, like Lamb, Higgins, DJ Moore. There's just like you could
Moore's
put
a whole other
Pittman.
tier down.
You could put Pittman in there if you want. To me, it's just like there's a ton of early 20s dudes that are really, really good at football. And I just have no idea who's going to have more dynasty value in 2 years. Is kind of how I look at it. I have no idea who's going to score more fantasy points the next 2 years either. So I think Higgins and Lamb super similar. Higgins just outproduced him. He just had a significantly higher target share even than Lamb, even with better target competition than Lamb. That to me signals Higgins is probably better at football.
You think so?
Is Lamb in a better situation? Yes. There's no target competition there. But I think if Higgins was generally more efficient and had a higher target share in offense with better target competition, I think I'm going to give the edge to Higgins in terms of the good at football award. But I agree. Like Lamb's in a better spot in terms of like there's just nobody else there. And we know that he is also very good at football. So
Jamar Chase is just so good. Like,
yeah, I
imagine if he develops more.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
imagine if he becomes like in year 2. I mean, he was a 21-year-old rookie.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh, I don't have Chase and Higgins close. Like for me, Jefferson and Chase are like 2x the value of any other receiver in Dynasty.
I'm with you to some degree.
I think it's like this weird top two where I don't see any world where Chase and Jefferson aren't just absolutely crushing it as wide receiver ones for the next 5, 6, 7 years.
Their production profiles are so sterling. Like it's hard to.
Yeah.
But what about the other part then? What about the Saquon part? Because the people know that I don't like Saquon Barkley. I don't like him.
Interesting. I think.
Well, why would I like him? You made the argument when you were talking about Juju. It's been so long. It's been 2018 since anything was good. And
he was just getting his stride, and then he stepped on Tony's ankle.
He was not just getting his stride. What about there was like one good game is not getting his stride.
He had back-to-back 20 fantasy point weeks. He was on the field for like 90% of the snaps. You can't find a 90% snap share running back anymore that's also getting targets. It's like him and Najee Harris and McCaffrey.
But then why did it take so long? Why did it take so long when he came back? Why was he still bad?
It's a high ankle sprain. Why was Jerry Jeudy so bad for the rest of the year?
He was still good enough it's still good enough to make Courtland Sutton irrelevant.
Yeah, but like he wasn't doing anything.
No,
like if you look at Judy's stats,
nobody did anything in that offense.
Yeah, so I think the high ankle sprain it generally just ruins the entire season. He's still 25. I like.
But it also took him too long to come back from the ACL. He should have been ready week 1, and he wasn't ready. He didn't look very good. He didn't look good in any. I mean, really, he looked good for a few minutes. In the passing game, not the rushing game. He really never was able to. I mean, in these games where he was so great, he never topped 60 rushing yards in any of them. So, he was managed to put together some good production in the passing game. And if I remember correctly, there was like 1 or 2 big plays. I'm a Giants fan, so yeah. I remember these games. And I just don't remember this being, even in those games, I was like, okay, this is better, but it's not 2018 Saquon Barkley. At best, it's the return of 2019 Saquon Barkley, which was fine, but that was a low-end RB1. It was nothing special, 2019 Saquon Barkley. So I just think that he is... Why would I bet on him to bounce back? I don't see why I would. It's too many issues.
Yeah. So I've thought about it more. I don't think there's I think you could talk yourself into either side because Pitts is an asset that's just going to keep rising. I think Lamb and Higgins are similar enough. Like Pitts is just ridiculous. But I think Saquon, like he's still going to be really good this year. I think he could be really good next year. Like I think there's 2 years where Saquon could still be an RB1 potentially. And then this 23 first is very alluring. So I don't think there's like I want my trades to have a clear angle where it's like, this is a team that is getting younger and building for the future, or this is a team that is trying to win right now. And I think there's mixed messages on both ends.
This is a mixed messages trade for sure.
Yeah. Like I think I would, I don't know.
I'll take Lamb and Pitts, but
okay.
It's not. I will say that I've been in the unenviable position of being against Kyle Pitts this week. because we're talking about Scott Fishbowl, we're talking about redraft, and
Mhm.
and he's going way too high in redraft. But people don't understand, like, if he finishes at tight end 3, people are going to love him for Dynasty because he was 22 years old, finished as tight end 3 after having a good rookie year, and then finished as tight end 3 in his second year. And that's going to sound like, oh, that's obviously the Dynasty tight end 1. I mean, we're seeing progression. Tight end 3 in year 2 is excellent. Excellent. I mean, that's the excellent trajectory you want to see. That's, Hall of Fame level of trajectory for a tight end. But he can do all of that and still not pay off for redraft if you take him in the early 3rd round, like people are doing in Scott Fishbowl. So he's not going to pay off the Scott Fishbowl price, but he'll still pay off his Dynasty value in terms of value, even if he's not going to pay off the finish. He'll pay off the value. Considering he's more than 5 years younger than Mark Andrews, we have time. A tight end 3 finish this year is on course for that value path that we want. But people picking him I've seen him in the late 2nd in Scott Fishbowl, and I think people doing that are going to be disappointed because Travis Kelce was one of the worst picks you could have made last year. He did great, but he was one of the worst picks you could have made because he just didn't pay off the high end value. So if he's tight end 3, you're not going to be happy. But you know more about that than me. This is more
I like
expertise than mine.
I like taking quarterbacks early in Scott Fishbowl. It's just too limited of a resource. There's only so many good quarterbacks. The scoring system is very heavily incentivizing good quarterback play. So I think that's the optimal strategy. I did pretty well last year. I picked terribly throughout. Like most of my picks were awful. My first 5 picks sucked, but I had decent enough quarterback play, even though they weren't good, that you can you can always just piece together running back, receiver, tight end on the waiver wire. Especially in the Fishbowl, you can't do that with quarterback. These streamers are going to have these terrible completion percentages. So for me, I just really want to make sure that 2 of my first 3 picks ideally are going to be quarterback.
Last year, I still made the playoffs, even though I picked Ridley in the 4th and MT in the 5th. I picked Tannehill in the 2nd, I think Tannehill in the 2nd, Gibson in the 3rd, Ridley in the 4th, and Thomas in the 5th. And Kelce in the 1st, who at 103.
So we both had bad starts. Yeah, I went Lamar. I went Lamar, Tannehill, Akers, Pitts, and then Miles Sanders. That is a terrible starting 5, but I still made the playoffs because I had Chase, I had Fournette, I had Elijah Mitchell, I had Gronk, I had Antonio Brown. You can just there's ways to piece together really high end production late in the draft everywhere but quarterback. It's kind of how I
don't know if I can get away with it this year, but I picked Derek Carr at 7-10 last year. People are not, and then Pittman at 11-10, nice. Connor at 12-03, Hunter Henry at 13-10, who was very good.
Yeah, they all smashed.
And then also I got quarterback production from Teddy Bridgewater in the 15th and Jimmy Garoppolo in the 17th.
Wow.
To make up for Ryan Tannehill's poor games. So I don't know if people are going to let me do that again. James Conner in the 12th, I think, might have been that one.
That was a smash.
It would have been so much better if I hadn't cut Elijah Mitchell, who I picked in the 20th, and Darrell Williams, who I picked in the 17th. I should have listened to myself. I cut them for Jared Dokes.
Woof.
Yeah. Are you taking applications for a cameraman?
No.
Okay.
Nah. Tell Jordan to go away. He's being snarky right now. Jordan's actually, for those who don't know, he was my first hire at the 33rd team. He's
really?
Lead all of our DFS efforts.
Very familiar with Jordan.
Yeah. So he's now full time in the space. So congrats to Jordan. I think it was well deserved. He's very good at DFS.
I guess I can say this now because it's years. I think this is years ago. But at some point, Jordan and I were talking about. I was like, I'm going to put up some money, and I'll take your advice, and we can bet on. I probably should have taken him up on this. I'll put up my money, and we can bet on games and bet on stuff, and I'll endorse your plan for betting and all of that. I really should have taken him up on that offer.
Yeah,
but I just forgot about it and let it go.
He's pretty insanely profitable.
I know. I feel like I made a whoopsie. Missed opportunity there for me, but I'm glad it's working.
Invest in those Jordan Vanek stocks.
I know, because I was talking to him when nobody knew who he was, when he was just getting started, and I was like, I feel like so often I'm like, I see someone who I think is like super talented, and I'm like, I should do something about it, and I just like I let it go, and I'm like, want to say fuck, but I just did.
There it is.
Whoopsie. Oh, we didn't answer the question. Do you think Jacobs bounces back this year? I think
No.
I know your answer from what I've seen on Twitter, but go ahead.
No, this guy, he doesn't play on third downs generally.
Okay, good.
I think he's going to get the goal line work, although it's a little concerning that Zamir White is way faster and still a
Somehow.
decent size.
Without the ACLs, he's still faster.
Yeah, he tore
odd.
both ACLs and he still ran a 4.4 flat at the combine at 215.
Crazy.
McDaniels, the new OC, loves his running back committees, and it looks like they want one. They drafted Zamir White. He looks pretty good. They turned down the year 5 option for Jacobs. Jacobs just feels like the quintessential dead zone running back. He is going to do something. I think he will be fine. This is not a player that is even remotely going to help you win your league. And if you have to take him in the 5th, 6th round, you are foregoing other players who are going to have a much higher chance of helping you win your league. You don't want to bet on a guy like Josh Jacobs. That is the archetype of running back that just does not pay off.
Can I ask you an important question?
Okay.
How many injuries does Josh Jacobs need to be a league winner?
Oh god, we're gonna need Kenyon Drake to get injured. We're gonna need Zamir White to get injured.
You can't tell that I actually consume your content.
They grabbed. So I don't know if you realized. Did you know Brandon Bolden had like 40 something catches last year?
I did. I did weekly start sit last year and had to rank him every single week. So I did know that because I literally had to go through where do I put Brid? Do I put him at running back 35 or do I put him at running back 45? Like I had to do this every single week. So yes, I am aware.
Somehow I didn't notice, and I was like, oh crap, he was like,
you do start sit
10. No, I never did any of that.
Okay.
Last year or the year before. So yeah, I had no idea
because I think the people would really like it from you, and also. It's how I remember some of these things because I had to go in every week and move the players. And I was like, well, I have to look. And then it helps you remember actually what actually happened instead of, because I'm always correcting people with like the narratives like about a lot of what happened because I remember because I had to actually go in and physically move the players.
All right, I've got a good one for you. He and Swift, 50 receiving yards apart last year. Oh my goodness. Brandon Bolden had over 400 receiving yards, 41 catch. Like what? I did not know that season happened.
I remember it. I remember it too well.
Yeah. I feel like he just like wasn't quite good enough for me to heavily consider starting in leagues. Yeah. And I play a lot of DFS and he was never like quite good enough to be in my DFS. He
wasn't
lineup,
a good DFS play because he had no ceiling.
Yeah. So I just kind of like forgot about Brandon Bolden. And then I think it was receiving yards is what I was sorting by. And I was like, holy crap, Brandon Bolden had over 400 receiving yards. And I mean, he's in Las Vegas now. There's so many dudes that are going to do something along with Jacobs that I don't see the ceiling.
Would you take Jacobs or Gibson though?
Oh my God. Tyler's just talking about all the players I hate because
I know, but
two injuries away.
This is why you prepare for guests to be on the show. You have questions just for that.
I'll give it to Gibson. I think he's more talented and he's a much better receiver.
Yeah, I have Gibson for this year at 22 and Jacobs at 24. So I agree. You're getting a compliment.
Thanks, Jordan.
I don't know if he's being serious. Corey, KJ Hamler or Snoop Connor?
I'm going to go with the guy that has actual draft capital in KJ Hamler. 2nd round draft capital. There's some worlds out there where he is a pretty heavy part of this offense.
What world is that?
I think it's the world where the beat reporters who are like, oh, he might end up having the Tyler Lockett role. This is a really, really fast dude who had a really insane college prospect profile. I understand he hasn't fired yet, but like Judy hasn't fired yet. Sutton hasn't fired in multiple years and he had the ACL injury. Tim Patrick, I think, is like fine. I don't think he has the ceiling. I think he has a good floor. I think there's worlds where Hamler is a player that you're actually starting and can get like a ton of dynasty value. I just don't think Snoop Connor has a path to major dynasty value at any point.
Well, yeah, he does. I mean, if James Robinson doesn't come back and then Travis Etienne gets hurt again, there it is. There's a path.
Yeah, I just think like Snoop Connor is probably not good enough to actually become James Robinson.
For me, though, when you're going to take a player at this stage of the draft, you always want to take the running back. Not because the running back's actually going to produce more. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So like people will make the case based on fantasy points or whatever, and
I know where you're going with this.
You're already wrong. It doesn't matter. Once they get the opportunity, you can't sell the wide receiver. Is anyone buying a wide receiver 5? No, because you can get those anywhere. But once the running back has 1 week where they're going to play that 1 week, you can sell them. You can get a 3rd round pick. You can get out. You can get something. Whereas with a wide receiver, you can't do it. You can't do it. And I've learned this lesson enough times. So you always want to have the running backs down at the bottom of your roster, not because you want to keep them, but because they're easier to turn over.
So I completely agree with that 100%. I just think Hamler's a bit different than this typical late round receiver, because if he comes out and he has 57 receiving yards and then 80 receiving yards in weeks 1 and 2, his dynasty value is going to rocket up. I think he's one of the rare later round receivers that actually has that, where you can say, oh, crazy prospect profile. For some reason, Russ loves him. I mean, Russ is a great deep ball thrower. Hamler is by far the fastest player on this roster. It's not even close. Maybe this is a Tyler Lockett type player where they have a really good deep ball connection. I think there's just ways where early in the season, his value can just shoot up. And because I'm with you, generally, I don't draft any receivers after a certain point in Dynasty. I'm like, oh, the startup, it's like get your receivers early. And then I'm just pounding every backup running back that I've ever heard of towards the end of it. I think Hamler is one of the rare exceptions.
I only give with these kind of receivers, I'll give them one chance and they have to hit immediately. And then they hit immediately and I usually get rid of them. Now, that has not paid off recently because I was very in on Darnell Mooney and Gabe Davis, and I really should have waited. Both times. Got rid of them immediately. I got more than, I picked them off waivers and got something. So it was something. But there were other players where I feel like they hit immediately and I got rid of him. KJ Osborne, where it's like, all right, getting rid of them was the right thing to do. But usually I only invest in rookies. And then once they flash, I just dump them.
Well, Mooney's got good dynasty value still.
Right, but I made the mistake of dumping him.
Okay.
Like, I shouldn't have dumped him after 3 weeks.
Got it.
Should have just kept him. But, like, that's when I invest in the players is when, so, like, for example, right now, I'm not going to invest in 2-time failure KJ Hamler. I don't want failure. We don't want that. We don't want failure. I'm going to invest in, I don't know, who I'm looking. Oh, Danny Gray, I guess, would be the player. The one I have the highest because he's the one who got the draft capital. So he's on my list. Maybe he'll have a flyer early on and then I'll get rid of him. And then maybe I'll regret getting rid of him. But, he's on there. Kyle Phillips is on there. Eric Ezukhanma. It's so hard to pronounce that name. But, there's a couple, Calvin Austin. There's a couple receivers that are on there. And we'll just see if they do anything. And then I'll just try to flip them. But yeah, once those guys only usually get one chance. So I'm not going to go after someone like KJ Hamler or Paris Campbell. It's many years of nothing. I don't have patience. All right. 2 quarterback PPR. Keenan Allen, Hawk, Matt Ryan for Pitts and Devonta Smith. Pitts.
Yeah.
Easily, right?
We're, yep. Next.
Yeah.
Pitts
Not every question's hard. Mike Williams, Irv, 23 first, 24 second for Lance Fant and 23 second. Oh, we're rolling in the easy ones, right? This is Lance easily.
Yeah. I take the Lance side.
Yeah. Lance easily. You're being asked for an opinion on the great Bateman debate. Where do you stand?
I wonder if this is because earlier today I talked about how Bateman and Gage should go in the same place in redraft because one is on potentially the lowest pass volume offense, the other's on probably the highest pass volume offense, and that it's just so hard to be insanely fantasy relevant on a low volume offense with a quarterback that, like, Lamar Jackson's fine. But, like, this is not like a super efficient quarterback necessarily.
No,
with Bateman, I like him in Dynasty. I think he's got a good prospect profile. I just don't know if there's any ceiling as long as Lamar is the quarterback. The only reason we got so many pass attempts this past year is the whole running back room was injured before the season started, and they had like Best Buy salesmen in the defensive secondary last year.
Oh yeah, their defense went to crap.
Yeah, like the Joe Burrow 500 pass yard game. There were guys that like had legitimately not played an NFL snap before that game that were out there trying to cover Chase and Higgins. What do you expect?
Nothing.
So
good.
Of course, like the Ravens are going to be trailing for almost all of every single game in comeback mode. So Bateman, I struggle to see the ceiling is just a little bit worrisome. I think he's fine. Like I just think I'm probably a little lower on him than some people where really liked him as a prospect. and like he had a fine
Interesting.
rookie year. Like he did pretty well considering he had the major injury, but it's also like he's in Baltimore. We technically just haven't actually seen him be a high volume option yet for any extended period of time in the NFL. And so I think in general, I'm just going to be a little bit lower on that guy in Dynasty than the community, a little bit lower in redraft than the community. I really
Didn't
want
you
the upside.
didn't you comment on this on Twitter? Is this what Akash is talking about here?
Yeah, this was on Twitter.
Okay.
People didn't like
Yeah,
that. I was like,
JJ Zacharyson came in, didn't he?
yeah, JJ had some
Yeah.
thoughts. JJ likes Bateman. I don't know. There's a lot of levers that you have to
I'm
play
probably
with
more
to
similar
get
to
him.
you, I would say. Like maybe a little higher actually than what you're saying, but it's interesting. It's the opposite of Devonta Smith. A player where I wasn't in on Rashad Bateman as a prospect at all. Not at all. And now I find myself, probably being more in on him than you. I guess
Yeah. So
I guess this is also probably telling me that, well, actually I don't know what this tells me, but I definitely trust my prospect evals less and the NFL stuff more.
So here,
That's what I'm
here's I
better
think
at.
what this is what really spooks me with these Ravens guys. 2019, they had the best offense in football. They passed 440 times.
It's not very high.
That's pretty low. 2020, basically the same game plan. The offense is just not quite the best ever for efficiency, and they're like a top 10 offense. They pass the ball, fewer plays run, just not quite as good. 406. So we have 440, 406. Last year, I know 17 game season, but this is ridiculous. 611. They basically went from like 27 and a half to 25 and a half to 36 pass attempts per game. I think we're just massively overrating the pass volume for 2022 when they got rid of Marquise Brown and they backfilled with 2 tight ends and a running back and a center and a tackle in the draft. This is going to be an incredibly run heavy team. It's insanely hard to be highly fantasy relevant when there's 400 something pass attempts up for grabs.
Well, no, it isn't. It's just that Andrews and Bateman have to get everything. They have to get everything. And that is asking a lot. You need 30% target shares. And
Yeah,
it's
those are just hard to
possible.
come by.
They are hard to come by.
Andrews had like a 27% last year. And he had the 150 targets, but that's because of the pass volume. These guys are going to need 30% plus target shares. Like Andrews in the non-2021 offense for the Ravens, if he wants his 150 targets from last year, the dude's going to need like a 35% target share, which nobody does.
Well, watch him do it, though. I think it would be interesting. I mean, he is excellent. I mean, he's elite. He was good on the target. I mean, they should give him more targets. I mean, for a tight end, it was pretty close to what more could you ask for on his targets? I mean, 107 for 1361 and 9 on 153 targets is really good.
Yeah, the problem is we just don't see the 35% target share. Like
No, you don't.
Cup last year was like 32%, and it felt like he got everything. He had the best season ever. So
no, I
the
hear
Ravens
you.
concern me.
I hear you, and it's why I mean, I don't know though. I have Rashad Bateman at wide receiver 23 in redraft, so maybe I'm just hoping that it happens, but it's really how many pass attempts is it going to be? And if we ever have to go to Tyler Huntley, it's not going to be good. We know that. We know if we have to go to Tyler Huntley, it's going to be bad. We know Tyler Huntley was at 154 yards per game, 5.8 yards per attempt. I mean, this is Drew Lock.
Yeah.
Bad. Like worse because he runs. It's Drew Lock if he ran for the passing offense. So what is this?
I saw that comment earlier. We can just skip that. I don't even know.
I don't know. I'm not sure what that means.
No, there's probably some typos. I was gonna say I've got 2 more and then I have to go. So let's do 2 more really good ones.
I think this one
and
is
then I've got to hop
actually
off.
pretty good.
I like this one.
This one's tough. All right, you talk. I'll give us the trade analyzer, but Vamp first.
Perfect. All right, so we've got a 1 quarterback 12-team dynasty league. We've got Deebo Samuel and AJ Dillon, and on the other side we have a 2023 first in Drake London. Tyler, take this one away.
Oh, the trade analyzer. I am not that fast. But Cal somehow. Okay, one thing I never understand is how does Cal get this stuff inputted into the trade analyzer so fast? So before
you tell me the trade analyzer's answer, I'll say I'm going with the right side I'll take the 23 first in Drake London over Debo and AJ Dillon. I just those are two really, really strong assets. With Debo, like, yeah, there's this crazy ceiling that we now know about. A lot of injuries in college, a lot of injuries in the NFL. It was really only half a season that he was a heavily utilized wide receiver. He had more carries than targets in the second half of last year. The second half of last year, he was also out targeted by both Kittle and Ayuk. I'm just not that certain that Debo is going to lead the team in targets. AJ Dillon, he's great. He also averaged under 11 PPR points a game last year. I think we're going to get a lot more from him, but I don't know. Drake London, top 10 draft capital, 2023 first. We know how valuable those are. That just feels like two pretty rock solid assets that are only going to go up in value. So I lean on the right side.
I mean, if this were super flex, it would be easy. I would take the 23 first side easily. Mm-hmm. In this case, I'm still going to take the 23 first side. I think you can lose with the other side a lot easier. London is obviously London is 5 years younger than Debo. It's not like it's a massive. Debo is older than people think.
Yeah, he played as like 23 and a half or 24 as a rookie. Yeah. He was an old rookie.
January 96. So London is 2001 somewhere. So yeah.
Oh my God, I feel old. 2001.
Yeah. Well, I'm 95. I don't know what you are.
94. We're close.
94. Okay, almost the same age. But yeah, I'll take the London side. It is very close though. I'm a big AJ Dillon fan. I think that it's why I have Aaron Jones so low. Because I'm worried that AJ Dillon is gonna stamp out the rushing share, and it's mostly gonna be the receiving that's left. And I don't think Aaron Jones is good enough to just do it on 90, 100 targets alone. But yeah, I'll take the London side. It's close though. It's not unreasonable. I understand why you would, if you're a contender, why you would want Debo.
This is one of those trades where you can see why you would take either side. I just think the right side is safer and it still has a lot of upside.
I think if I'm going to take the Debo side, I think I want someone who's a little more guaranteed to produce me something this year than Dillon. Like if it were Debo and Montgomery, I'd like it better. I'd like it better than with Dillon. I would like it better. It would make more sense then because Dillon is still a question mark for this year with Jones there, whereas Montgomery, to me, for production-wise, is more of a guarantee. I like Montgomery as well. He has more value in Dynasty than Dillon.
Oh, interesting. I think I'd take Dillon over Montgomery.
Yeah, no, the ADP just it has them around apart, and those are two players that I have ranked almost spot on their ADP. I have each of them ranked exactly one spot overall higher than their ADP, and they're almost exactly around apart. So it's nice when you like agree when everything agrees, and it's easy to like evaluate it that way. Let's give you one easy question. I think this is easy. Would you trade the 102 for AJ Brown?
So the way that I see this class, I think there's Breece Hall at the top. This is the player that you want at the 101. And then I think after this, there's a whole cast of characters that you could argue as the 102. I am most here for the receivers, where I think you could say London, Burks, Olave, JMO, like even Sky Moore. I think like you can just you could make a case for them at 102 purely from a production standpoint. But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, if there's all these dudes that like you could theoretically make a case to go after Breece Hall. Like I know some people will say Kenneth Walker. I don't like middle-sized running backs who don't catch passes. But I mean, yeah,
I have Walker 102.
102 is just like it's so wide open. It's because there's just not a clear-cut super elite asset. AJ Brown is the clear-cut super elite asset. If it was the 101, I think it's a conversation. AJ Brown, Breece Hall. The 102 to me, it's just such a steep drop off that I want AJ Brown.
I was picking between AJ Brown and Breece Hall at 502 and Scott Fishbowl today. I decided to go with AJ Brown, but it was a decision.
I would take AJ Brown.
And in Dynasty, because it's 3 wide receivers, if it had been equal numbers of wide receivers and running backs, I would have gone with Breece Hall.
Is it 3 receivers? I haven't even looked at the
3 receivers, yeah.
I'm just winging it this year. Like I have my strategy.
I'm kind of winging it.
I'm trying to go quarterback and receiver heavy. And I guess that's good if it's start 3 receivers.
I didn't really have like a plan. I was just kind of seeing what falls and using the value plan and trying to build a balanced team on top of that because it's redraft, can't trade. But yeah, I mean, I would take AJ Brown over Breece Hall, let alone to 102. So
yeah,
it's pretty easy for me.
Yeah, The AJ Brown's just you want AJ Brown. There's like the guy's just going to keep gaining value or maintaining value. There's not a lot of paths where his value plummets. The 102, like it's a riskier 102 than in many other years.
Yeah, I agree. Kenneth Walker is my 102, but I'm like, oh, I have Garrett Wilson after that. I'm like, well,
Oh, I forgot about Wilson. I felt like I was missing
Yeah.
a name. Yeah, Garrett Wilson, I think, is also.
I
in the
wasn't sure if that was
conversation
an
for 102.
intentional omission.
Not
or,
intentional. No, that's why I was like Sky Moore, and I was like, there's one other dude that you could see having a really good rookie season and shooting up draft boards. Forgot about Wilson. There we go.
Yeah, no, I like Garrett Wilson, and I would just hope that Zach Wilson doesn't tank him, because if he plays like he did as a rookie, it's not going to be good.
Mhm.
I may have a surprise for you, but before that surprise happens, tell the people one more time where they can find your work, everything, Twitter, whatever you want to say.
So you can find me on Twitter at JLarkyTweets. You're going to be able to see all of my content and the team's content coming soon on the33rdteam.com. We'll be launching the new fantasy DFS and betting section of the site at the start of August. It's going to be free for the summer. It's going to be free for the entire 2022 season. We have some pretty incredible tools that are going to get rolled out in August as well. We're going to have some incredible content. We're going to have some really, really, really sharp people. What I always was aiming for as I was interviewing people, we've got a lot of commitments at this point. And I basically, in the interview, I wanted to be impressed where I go, you know what? I feel like I'm out of my depth talking to you about this subject matter. And there were a lot of people I found where I felt that. So I'm incredibly excited for people to get to know them, where there's a lot of people out there. And I'm like, you know what? You are one of the next stars of this industry. And the people are going to see it really, really soon. So I'm excited about it. So yeah, check out the Twitter. Check out, more importantly, the 33rdteam.com.
Also, I have a surprise for you.
What's the surprise?
This is your surprise.
Oh,
what's up, Josh?
We finally get some FaceTime.
What's up,
Yeah,
bro?
I wanted to make sure you guys got to say hi.
I know. I never done anything with Josh before.
Yeah. So where do you stand on this great Bateman debate? What was that? What was that question? Was that a dynasty? Was that a redraft?
Both. I feel like right now he's higher in Dynasty, obviously, because he's young. But I really feel like a lot of his value has been driven by vacated targets, which I don't subscribe to. And
vacation targets.
Yeah, I was into him before Hollywood left because his price was lower, and then he left, and everyone started getting higher, and I was less high on him, I guess. And so I loved him as a prospect, and I think you did too. But
yeah, I
then
loved Bateman as a prospect.
His rookie season was like just okay. It was okay. It was all right. I mean, it wasn't bad. Not like he's a face planner, but
yeah, it just seems to me like if he was in a different offense, I might think differently. But what are we expecting for this year? I think that's what people.
The offense. I think I'd still be out at price. I mean, maybe if the offense was like guaranteed to be good and 20% target share was a lot higher, like 20% target share, like your tweet about Gage and in the Bills offense, a lot different than 20% in the Eagles offense. But either way, like his comps, I have like 19 comps for him, and in year 2 they averaged like 10 points per game. Not that interesting.
Yeah, I think Bateman's like this really high floor, zero ceiling player is how I envision it. Like I think he's like, I don't think there's any world where he's not getting like 110 targets this year. I don't think there's any world where he gets over like 125. I see him as just like a very narrow band. And I just think those are bad bets to chase for redraft for Dynasty. You want the guys that have a pretty wide range of outcomes with some really good high end comps. Just don't see that for Bateman. I think he's going to give you your 10 to 12 fantasy points a game this year. And you're just going to be like, well, I was foregoing several league winning type picks in those rounds. It's kind of what I see. Like, why not just take Elijah Moore in the next round?
Exactly. I have Elijah Moore higher.
I'm fine with that.
Like Elijah Moore has a much better ceiling outcome, and you can get him in the next round.
Yeah, better rookie season. And I don't know. I feel like people care about target competition, and I don't. Unless the target competition is like world beater, like AJ Brown. Like I don't care if like you lose. Like if you.
I love hearing that.
This is
I love hearing
this is
that.
fake news.
Fake news. Oh no. I say
mean,
I say
I
that
still
whenever
like,
anyone
Devonta
like
Smith-
Devonta Smith. I still like
Devonta
Devonta
Smith
Smith
can lead
but
this team in
AJ Brown's
targets.
certainly good.
the people try to
Devonta
trick
Smith
me.
can-
Could, but on like I'm with you on the low on like it's possible,
Mhm.
but like Garrett Wilson is nowhere close to the target competition that AJ Brown is. So
Yeah, I would agree with that 100%.
So yeah,
People
I don't
always
know
try
why
to
people are
trick me, though.
fading Elijah Moore for getting a rookie ad, and it's not like he's gonna have a huge role as a rookie. I mean, he could, but probably
Garrett
like
Wilson?
he's probably like a 15 to 20% target share.
I have him pretty high as a rookie, so maybe
Where
I'm
do you have
expecting
him?
a role. 35.
That seems about right. I mean, that's where Elijah Moore was last year, and he had a 19% target share.
Yeah, but Garrett Wilson's consensus redraft rank is like 47. So
Yeah, that
significantly higher.
I mean,
That
I
makes
want
sense.
I want both of them.
I mean,
pretty bad.
35 versus 47 is really not that much of a difference.
Well, I mean, it is a difference though.
I mean, yeah, you're putting guys ahead of him.
It's hard to say how many
realistically, it's
points.
not like-
You're right. It's hard to say how many points that represents, but in terms of spots, it is a difference.
Yeah, the way I see it is that you just don't want Corey Davis. That's how I think about
yes.
it.
Man, I had some Corey Davis before.
I don't want it. I ranked him. I rank him at 65.
I saw someone
Seems
say
like-
that Zach Wilson sleeping with a cougar should show that he likes age and experience, and that's why you should buy Corey Davis.
I mean, I just
No,
look
then
at
you
Corey
got
Davis.
then you got to be
That's
in on that
hilarious.
CJ Uzama. CJ
Yeah.
Uzama is older than Corey Davis. Come on now.
I mean, if they
Yeah.
really liked Corey Davis, they wouldn't have
Oh,
gone Elijah Moore
right.
and then Garrett
Exactly.
Wilson.
Right. It sucks for him. I used to like him, but now he's just pretty much dead.
Yeah.
He's taken the Curtis Samuel off ramp.
hmm
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's actually that's a perfect analog. At this point, we know what the team thinks. They think this is a third option in a below average offense, which to me signals zero ceiling and potentially
Devontae
2 injuries
Parker off
away.
ramp.
Oh,
Yeah.
Devontae Parker.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh my god. Toronto Dave is giving you major props in the bottom of the chat.
oh, what's he saying?
He's just this
Nice.
this.
Thanks.
Oh,
Damn.
God.
What the hell? Jesus.
Yeah. No, I love
Man,
it
I
when
love
he
Toronto
joins.
Dave. He's coming to Expo this year. I'm so hyped to meet him. He's a great person.
I'm
Mhm.
still not going.
No, you're not coming? Damn.
I said if the expo is in New York and I can walk there, I will consider going.
Oh, man, come on.
It's my way of saying I'll never go.
I'm taking a connecting flight to get there. I went there
Never.
last year too. It's so good.
Never. I'm not going.
Someone wants to
I'm-
sponsor me, I'll go. The
Are
problem
you
is
not
the
going either?
ticket. No, I'm in San Diego. The ticket's like $750. Then you have to pay for a hotel, like spending like $1,000 something dollars for like 2
Yeah.
nights.
If it were, like I said, if it were in New York, I would like get over my whatever
Mhm.
and get off my ass and go. But to go all the way to Cannon, like I
It was so much fun. I met so many
I
people.
believe you, but like,
It's worth
look,
it.
I made a promise that I'm going to organize my own event for our little chat in New York, and
All right,
you know,
bet.
I
And
will.
then-
It's me. I
I've got
I
a-
would do that.
I think the new nickname is "You're the Cash Man" at this point. Throwing
Yeah.
cash down. No, cash.
Wow.
Throwing cash down.
Yeah.
Going to the expo back to back
should-
years.
I should have. Yeah. Well,
That can be your new fantasy nickname.
I would be the cash man if I put my cash behind Jordan
That's right.
Vanek's
That's
betting system.
actually where my username comes from. Like,
Oh, is it really?
kind of like in some stupid way. My name's Akash, and so it's got
Mhm.
like cash, and it's not pronounced that way, but it's kind of.
Did anyone ever call you a cash money?
Yes, a lot. That's
Yeah.
what I'm getting at.
There
Like,
was someone in my
when I was in like middle school,
school
and
had that
school, I didn't
nickname.
like it, but
Mhm.
I
didn't like it
when
either.
I was in like probably like 9th grade or something. I had a stupid. I didn't rap, but like I was like joking if I was gonna make a SoundCloud rap account, like on SoundCloud, I'd be like YZR Cash, and then that was my Reddit name, and then I just changed it to YZR _ fantasy. I don't know why
You
I
could-
put the underscore.
So it's pronounced Akash.
yeah,
So I mean, you could have like Kosh Spice.
yeah,
Oh my god.
That's a fun name.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
No, I'll stick with Cashman. I think that's good.
yeah, I like it too. It's like I don't know. Like I have so many people mispronounce my name. It's kind of funny. Like Peter Howard. I was doing the podcast with him.
Dynasty grind.
mispronouncing it for like 3 hours. At the very end, I correct him. And he starts apologizing, and then during his apology, he pronounces it wrong again.
Oh, I gotta get him on here.
Yeah, he's great. It was a lot of fun with him. Like I know, like sometimes, like I think I'm smart, but then I talk to Peter, and he just bodies me. It's always great.
Okay, I know they don't put me on this show because I'm smart.
Nah, just the great personality.
It's for the looks, as Jordan said.
People just want to hear me say failure, failure, failure.
That's what I'm
what
here.
they want. I know that's what they want. That's what they want from me. But I've tried to not lean into that. I've tried to actually give analysis. This is probably the show.
I mean, hey, if you got a bit that people like, might as well lean into it.
I will say this is probably the most analysis I've done on an Ask DLF show, and I don't even know how long.
Yeah,
the least I broke into character, and the most I actually was like actually talking about football.
That's the effect I have on people. They look at my stone face, just staring at the camera, and they're like, "Whoa."
Do. Well, I don't know. You're also like great, so you had a lot of good points and sounded. It felt really good to hear a lot of the same things that I said by someone who's really smart. I was like, oh, maybe these things I'm saying about Juju are not so bad. Maybe they actually have some basis in fact. Because
you don't know what I was doing in 2018 is when I started working in the industry. That is the last time Juju was good. Oh, no. Like I literally wasn't in the industry. Been in the industry for 5 years now. I
actually wasn't in the industry because I started in 2019.
2018, so many
I started
years
in
ago.
2020,
That's 2 years before the pandemic, which is 2 years before this. And
I can't remember a world without the pandemic.
Juju was pretty good in 2020, though. I mean, not pretty good, but
no, he was terrible.
He was good. He wasn't terrible. No, yeah, he was a wide receiver too. He had 14 points per game.
I mean, if we want to be fantasy point scouts, then
sure, but he was bad.
I mean, that's why I'm here. My name's not YZR Football, it's YZR Fantasy.
I feel like I talk about football more.
He could be
than most fantasy
total compiler of yards and short targets, but I don't really care if it gets me fantasy points. High volume offense, 20% target share. I heard someone say this before, and the comparison's kind of there, but I don't know, what's the difference between him and isn't he just a Walmart version of Godwin?
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Godwin's.
I mean, I said it earlier. I think Juju should retire. I really do.
Godwin's been efficient.
He should retire. Retire
yes.
what?
He should retire. He'd make more money that way. He'd make more money and avoid any future injuries. There's no reason for him to keep playing football. He doesn't do anything. He should retire. Go do the TikTok thing. You'll look. Well, who would you rather be in life, really? I mean, would you rather be someone like Juju or would you rather be Ninja? Who would you rather be? If you have a choice between those two things in life. One of them, you get hit all the time. You're constantly injured. The other one, you don't do any of that and you still make a lot of money.
Assuming that if Juju was to retire, he'd become a Ninja-like streamer, that level.
I mean, I think he's got the personality to do it. I think he's got the following to do it. I think he has the talent to do it. I think he's more. I think he has a better future.
Why would he do that now when he could just do that?
Why not?
When he's in his 30s and actually washed?
Because if he plays a few more bad seasons, then people won't like him as much.
He's still got a following. He's still got the personality.
I really think he should look at his options. That's what I would do.
I hadn't thought about this. I'm on Team Tyler. I think if we're talking about play 4 more years till he's 30 in the NFL on one side, or retire in TikTok, I think retire TikTok. I've been convinced it's a better path.
You're the one on TikTok.
So are you?
Yeah.
I'm not the level like Josh is.
I'm the one who's not on TikTok. I still do my silly YouTube shorts.
YouTube shorts get nothing.
Honestly, they're some of my most viewed videos.
Yeah, because they're short. People like short content no matter what platform.
Yeah, I was gonna say
TikTok, YouTube shorts is nothing.
Yeah, the YouTube shorts are going to be a pretty heavy part of the 33rd content strategy. Those are in right now.
Okay, so
people
then I don't feel as bad.
All short content is
because I did something. I must be doing something right. I got 84 views in 4 hours on a video about N'Keal Harry.
Nice. I made one on N'Keal Harry that I thought, I don't know how good it did, but I was this is how the N'Keal Harry trade affects fantasy football. Thanks for watching.
I was thinking of making I didn't have time today, but I was thinking of being there's a receiver out there. He's on a team devoid of competition. Former first round pick, playing with an elite quarterback prospect. It's N'Keal Harry.
I mean, that just shows how easy it is to make anyone look good. It's so
Yeah,
easy.
you guys really have all like you guys and Luke and people like that. Like you really have like the TikTok thing down where I'm just too disorganized. Like
Oh, man, I'm nowhere near Josh's level. Like I'm just like staring there like this for 30 seconds, and Josh is over here like he's standing. He goes to different locations. He's using his hands, talking with passion. I'm just saying what I wrote down on my computer.
your videos are so good though, Josh. Like people should watch them. That's how I was
Thank you.
prepared to talk about Antonio Gibson because I watched your video.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, when I
practice.
started,
like my early TikToks were not good. If you scroll the feed on my TikTok, some of those early videos, like they were not nearly as good. So it just took time to kind of figure it out.
Oh my
yeah,
god.
when I started like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, okay, I wrote down a few accounts. It was you, Alex Caruso, and then some of them that are bigger on, like way bigger on TikTok than fantasy Twitter. I'm like, all right, this is what I should do, and like just been trying to do that. I've been keeping it simple, just like saying stuff, not doing a bunch of like background editing, just the words. It's been working pretty well, all right, like so far,
Yeah.
but
I haven't
it's
been
not
super
amazing.
active on Twitter lately. I've barely been around. It's funny.
Yeah.
I haven't noticed much of a change. It's almost like I was doing all that Twitter activity for nothing.
Nah, it's still good. You still got a good audience, and you're putting
Yeah.
out the promo too.
Whenever I've also realized whenever I want, I can just put out the thread and it's like I never left.
Yeah, that's facts.
The algorithm stays strong over time. But
Yeah, I like asking questions on Twitter. It's pretty good.
yeah, I can't wait for Start Sit because that's the one thing I really actually like doing through Twitter.
Oh yeah, you do a ton of that. It's crazy.
I don't know how I ever did it. It's like hundreds of questions.
Yeah,
I would always get locked out of my Twitter.
Yeah,
I think I was
that.
a robot. I think I was a robot.
That happened to me too. I got caught in a spam.
Too much
filter 'cause I
tweeting. Yeah.
responded,
Well,
but
you got locked out too. You had YZR Fantasy too.
Yeah, is YZR Fantasy out of Twitter jail yet?
I don't know why you got put in jail.
I don't know how you guys do these start sits. Honestly,
I don't.
I'll
just
go on
start whoever's
record.
projected more points on Sleeper.
I'll go on record. They bore the shit out of me when I get asked to
Really?
start sits. Like those are the easiest DMs for me to ignore. Because I'm like,
Just start
don't
whoever's
care.
projected more points. It's a crapshoot
Yeah.
anyways.
Yeah, I'm like,
But-
what do you want from me? Like, generally people don't ask a start sit where it's like, hey, do I start DeAndre Swift or shitty backup running back? It's always like, hey, do I start good player or good player? And I'm like, I don't
Flip a
know. Like
coin.
I've got like a 55% lean one way, which
Exactly,
means like there's nearly a 50% chance I'm gonna get it wrong.
You know what?
There is
like?
no
And I
upside to
highly
me putting
doubt
myself
that I
out
have
there.
more information than ESPN, Sleeper, etc. Everyone's doing those weekly projections, so I was like, I'll just default to those.
Yeah, I'm like, you should have drafted better if you don't have studs in your lineup. Like, I'm sorry, can't help you now. Like, do you want average flex or average flex? Like, I don't know. You probably should have drafted better.
The one thing I will say is that there's nothing I get more gratitude for.
Yeah, that's
than
facts.
that. There's nothing I get more thanks for. There's nothing I get more I appreciate you for. I get appreciation for this show, but like how often? Like honestly, like I'll get one message a week about any of my articles being like, yeah, that was great. You know, I appreciate that. Whereas like Start Sit, it's like I sometimes have to mute the threads. It's like for some reason that's the thing where people remember the good ones and forget the bad ones.
Forget the bad ones.
Yes.
You're lucky then. You ever get shit for that? For just giving someone
I go to the block button very quickly. So
the
maybe
wrong
I'm not
45%?
I mean, I guess I'm wrong sometimes, but
Right. Some people just hold it against you though. I mean, that happened to me. I didn't start Sleeper like 1 week.
Of course it's my fault. But no, I was surprised last year because last year's the first year I really did it consistently. How many people would come back on my posts being like, thank you, like this made the difference. Like if I was leaning the other way and because I listened to you, I won. Like I'm like, I was always good for like 20 of those a week. And I was like,
That's
I wish more of them had signed up for my Patreon though. That would have been nice. But no, I mean, I think that is kind of like that audience traveled to this show maybe less this show because the show always had
Mhm.
honestly kind of had a big audience from the start. But traveled a little bit to my YouTube channel, traveled to my Twitter, and like kind of stuck with me like going on. So
Mhm.
yeah, I would do like 5 start sit starts a week.
Damn. I did one in week 1 last year. Remember everything happened at the beginning of last year with DeAndre Swift? Like
Yeah.
his
Mhm.
ADP was falling because like the offense, everyone's worried about him, and then
Yeah.
he has the groin injury, and then he's like, the internet just accuses him of being a murderer, and so everything's crazy with him.
Oh my God,
That
the
was so
murderer
wild.
incident. I totally forgot
And
about
then
that.
week 1, I'm like he had
Oh,
that
no.
groin injury before week 1, and everyone's like panicking about him. And like in the thread, I just have so many start Swift, etc. And he had like 25 points, and everyone comes back and like, yeah, oh yeah.
I
My
always
bright
remember that week 1 because I play a lot of DFS. That's partly why I don't like to do the start sits. So I'm selfish, and I'm like, I'd rather make my
That's smart.
DFS lineups right now.
Oh my
But
God.
I remember because you could have won the Million Maker with the beautiful triple stack of a quarterback, RB1, RB2 tight end on a bad offense. Because
yeah.
week 1 of last year, all over 20 fantasy points was Goff, Swift, Jamal
Yep.
Williams, TJ Hawkinson. You remember that game? Like they
Jamal
all went
had a-
nuclear.
Yeah, that was a crazy game with the 49ers, like some crazy shootout, and everyone's like overcorrects and be like, wait, could their defense be so bad they just get in shootouts every game? Let's not take it too far, but they certainly produced some good players.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll always remember that. I was like, damn, like top 4 running back performances by both Swift and Jamal Williams.
Yeah.
I won't forget that one anytime soon.
I remember it's so crazy because I think the thing I remember the most from start sit was the Sony Michelle week. When
Which
it was
week?
the one where we didn't
mid-season,
know
where
if
it
it was
took
going to be
over?
Michelle or Henderson. And I
Mhm.
think I made a post being like, start Sony Michelle over Daryl Henderson. If it's wrong, blame me for it. It's fine. I'll own it. It was so right. It was so
Nice.
right. And I was like, I dodged a bullet there. So I temporarily put my reputation on the line. But
I feel like at this point, like I have to be more responsible. Like I'm hiring and leading a team. I can't just troll people on Twitter, but I honestly don't remember who it was. It was someone at CBS, and they talked about how you had to start Henderson over Michelle, and I like quote tweeted them and then like ratioed them because I was like, here's like 6 reasons why you want to start Michelle over Henderson this week.
Oh my god!
And they were like Michelle is just like a sit. You can't start him. And I was like, like what? So I don't remember who it was, but I just like grilled whoever the CBS person was.
oh,
I
no.
can't really do that anymore. But man,
Yeah.
I definitely enjoyed that because I was like, Henderson sucks. Like any chance they get, they don't play Henderson.
I've had to
Like-
tone it back so much. Like I like find myself like dipping into one pool of hot water, another pool of hot water, like on the regular. And it's been a while. Like I've really have stayed out of it very much lately. But yeah, I don't know. For some reason I'm like always, I don't know. Been very calm lately.
Hmm.
But I don't know
Yeah,
why.
that's just July. July's so
Yeah.
not calm, but
I always, I'm always kind of a good punching bag. But I don't like take as many. I don't really take shots anymore. Like I just kind of, I rarely venture out of my own Twitter. Like it's rare. I'll do it for like the people in my groups to like help them get some interaction, like raise the stuff on their posts. But just like naturally, I don't usually leave my own Twitter page. I don't have to. It's enough. I can't even keep up with what's on my Twitter page. Like I don't get to everybody anymore. I used to respond to every comment, and I don't anymore. I try, but I don't. I also create a lot fewer threads, so it's easier to get to every comment when you create a lot fewer threads. But yeah, no, I used to like spend all day just being like responding to everyone, and I'm like, I don't think anyone wants this.
yeah.
Oh no.
Oh my god, Dave, what are you doing? That's
Toronto-
cooking money. Dave, what are we cooking tonight?
Damn.
Thank you.
Wow, he just
for
gave
the
up
first-
his-
cooking.
That could have
the
gone
first-
to hummus, Dave. What are you doing?
for the first super chat in a while.
That's pretty cool.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, no, I
Don't
appreciate
share that with Cal. That is yours.
no,
Well, no, it's not mine or Cal's.
no. Is mine? Josh's?
No, it's nobody's. It's I mean, it goes. Well, whatever.
Goes to the machine up top.
It goes
He's
to the
clearly
machine,
addressing
yeah.
us. I think we should get our cut.
Well, I'll send that up the flagpole. How about that?
All right, I bet. When I get my 10 cents, I'll
when you
send
get
you a
your
thank you
10
note.
cents, it will be arranged. But yeah, no, oh man.
All right,
Do you
I
think
gotta
I
hop
should-
off. I've been putting this off. My
know.
dog needs to eat. I gotta go.
Okay.
But this
All right.
was awesome.
All right. Thanks
you
for
go.
coming on.
Akash,
And we'll have to
great,
get you
great
on
to get some
soon.
FaceTime. Tyler,
Thanks,
I think we crushed it. What a
Absolutely.
unique dynamic we had. It was fun.
Yeah. I still have 2 more hours to go.
Oh my goodness.
That's what I'm here for.
Yep.
Impromptu.
Is that what's
Ask
improv?
DLF.
I can't leave
So-
people hanging on the questions.
You assumed I was gonna do 4 hours of this? I don't even do
No,
start
no,
sits on Sunday
no.
morning.
This was not
What?
supposed. We were supposed to be done around now, but I still have an hour and a half of questions left.
Hmm.
So
Hell yeah, let's get it.
I got to wrap
All
it
right,
up.
Enjoy,
All right.
you guys.
Peace. All right,
Okay, bro.
let's see if I can get the people in the chat are mad.
No, what happened?
No, they're mad that I'm ignoring all the questions.
Oh yeah, we are. That's true.
I can't get us in the background.
They'll live.
How do I? Oh,
Oh, there
aha!
we go. Nice.
There we go.
I don't know what's wrong with my lighting. I don't know.
That's fine.
I don't know what that
lighting's just as
glare
bad.
is.
All right, we are gonna. When I said rapid fire, this is
Okay,
gonna be
bet.
rapid fire. So, all right. Wait. Okay. Everyone, leave a like. I love the show. So yeah, we're at 9:25. It is now 11:08, and I just want to thank Josh for coming on the show. By the way, he was great, and I think definitely brought out the best of the analytical side of me, which doesn't come out on this show very often. So I thought there was good conversation that we wouldn't normally have about the industry, stuff like that. And, I just appreciate that not every show is going to be the same. And, obviously Cal wasn't here. We talked about a lot of stuff we usually talk about is different format. And now we're going to a whole different format. We're going rapid fire. So, I just appreciate everyone who's watched. And if you're still here, thank you. You don't have to spend 2 hours with me, but I appreciate everyone who would. 45 people and only 11 likes. Well, who knows where the numbers are at now? This is an hour and a half ago. All right. We're just gonna give this the answer. So, Dynasty League startup, half PPR, rank Jameson Williams, Elijah Moore, Hollywood Brown.
Marquise, Elijah, JMO.
All right, I will go Elijah, Jameson, Brown. We answered this already. This is a duplicate. Are you still holding on to Gronk if contending? Percentage chance that Gronk comes back and plays ever again? Just give me a number.
I don't know. Greater than 0, so that's worth holding. I mean, depends how deep your rosters are.
I forgot to move him down actually today because he looked pretty serious that he was done.
I don't know. He looks pretty serious last time.
I didn't believe him the first time, but I think I'm leaning towards that I believe him now. But
I'm still holding out hope, but maybe that's just
I'm still hanging on to him, but I'm more willing to drop him than I was. All right. 14-team Superflex trade, start 9. Kadarius Toney or Khalil Herbert, Donovan Peoples-Jones?
Easily Toney.
Kadarius Toney.
Yeah, and you don't even like Toney. That's just some.
I don't even like Toney, but that's an easy question. Clyde Aker. This is his real name. I've asked this before. I was like, is it Clyde Akers? No, it's this his real name. Tanking etiquette. I have a team without much chance to make the playoffs. My only good running back is Hall. Is it poor etiquette to put him on taxi squad if I decide to tank?
No, go for it. He's a rookie.
I'd say
Do it.
no. Yeah, go for it. Do what you need to do. Who would you rather roster, Dobbins or ETN?
Easily ETN.
Yeah, it's gotten to the point where I've made the switch in my rankings.
You had it the other way before?
I had it the other way when I thought Dobbins had showed something in the NFL, and I thought that was, he was on a better offense, a run-heavy offense, but it just seems like he's not ready. And James Robinson doesn't seem like he's going to be ready. So I'm going.
Never into Dobbins. Not very little pass.
I wouldn't say I was. I was into him before his ACL tear.
Oh, I wasn't. He was pretty high, like compared to.
I was a big fan.
Healing outcome.
I'm out on him at the moment. Okay. Look, he's gone. But yeah, love the FTM.
You said that. All right, I'll answer. I'll be Larky.
Okay. Love the FTM pump with we didn't even get to talk about that. I love that show. I missed that show. Who are 1 or 2 wide receivers you see jumping into top 15 territory in ADP 2023?
Good question. Let's see who's out of the top 15 in ADP right now. Probably a rookie, just because rookies
I
make
will
jumps like that.
say Garrett Wilson.
Deontay Johnson's 16, so I get to say him.
The Deontay Johnson.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wilson and Burks are good ones because they're rookies. They need to do the least.
Deontay Johnson, if he's not in there, is a good one.
Elijah Amon-Ra.
Elijah Moore is a good one.
Olave and JMO because
Olave maybe. JMO with the injury, I don't think so.
I'm just going stick with the young guys. I don't like them. I don't like their profiles as much as others, but they got value upside, I guess. I don't know.
Did you like my tweet promoting you coming on the show?
Oh, you just said something? I don't know. I was just looking at the show.
I was like, a wild Akash showed up.
Hell yeah. That's awesome.
Pokemon
I know.
reference.
Yeah, it was crazy. This is, me and Tyler are just bros. So I was listening to it in the background because I'm doing some stats right now.
You were just like, can I come on the show? And I was like, sure.
Exactly. Spoiler alert.
This is what happens when we leave me in charge.
Exactly. So
I'm much more disorganized than Cal.
Josh no, you're like, Josh, a couple more questions before you go. And I'm like, oh, Josh is leaving. It's only 9:30.
Well, I made sure to stall him until you got here.
That's right. I just quickly DM you. I'm like, yo, you got room for another?
I know that was clutch because otherwise I would have been doing this alone. All right. Well, I would have gone through all the questions alone, but it wouldn't take that. Okay, 10-team Superflex start 9. I've heard Stafford and Tannehill. Is it worth pivoting from Wilson to Tannehill? If so, is the 23-second with Tannehill a good enough offer? So I assume that's
Zach Wilson.
Yeah, it's got to be Zach because if it's Russ, it makes no sense. It's too easy.
Pivoting implies QB, so not Garrett.
Yeah. So if it's Zach, then would you take Zach or Tannehill in the 23-second?
Zach. Especially with that build where you have
go for
startable quarterbacks. Just go for the upside.
So then go for it. So I'm good with it. What is a more exciting play to you? A passing touchdown, rushing touchdown, pick six, or sack, fumble, touchdown?
Passing touchdown because it gets me the most fantasy points.
I think a pick six is so exciting though.
Maybe for the viewing experience because it can just
but for Carson failure, pick sixes are the name of the game.
Sack, fumble, touchdowns are more rare.
They are, but pick six is more exciting.
One of my favorite plays that I'm not a big defensive guy, but one of my favorite plays ever is Jamal Adams literally ripping the ball out of Daniel Jones's hands. The ball doesn't even hang in the air for a second. He just takes it like a handoff and runs into the end zone. That was amazing. Back when he was still on the Jets.
All right. So I haven't seen this post. I would say that I wouldn't worry about this because I think it's just that SEC receivers are drafted higher.
Right. Yeah. I don't conference adjust, but anything to push my Wando Robinson narrative. I said that. We're going back so long that I'm still in the chat.
I know you were in the chat for an hour after this. Okay. How high do you have Chris Godwin ranked in Dynasty?
Good question. Higher than his ADP because
I have him at 17.
Ranked. I don't do rankings, but
well, you should.
Makes sense to me. Yeah.
Start doing rankings.
All right, I will. Yeah, I was approached by some site that's we have a platform to help sell rankings. I'm like, all right, bet time to make rankings, I guess.
Yeah, I was approached by that same site and said no.
You already got some. You got Patreon.
I have Patreon.
I'm thinking about Patreon. I might do somewhere it's you get cheaper.
There's no site that can make me an offer that's better. So I'm not going
if I do a Patreon and be all right, it's $5 a month, and then rankings that are
what I charge
$2 a month. But if you do it together, it's $6. Then that's maybe
I charge $3. If you're interested in my Patreon, I charge $3 a month for rankings only, which I think is not a good deal. Or I charge $5 a month for rankings, my Discord.
The Discord is
worth that. The shows. The Discord is the thing that's actually.
Then you get the community and you get to talk.
Yeah, I think the Discord is worth more than the rankings, to be honest with you. But I have it set up that way because there are a lot of people who just don't like Discord. So I have the cheapest option is only the rankings because that's what makes sense. But yeah, I do think the Discord and rankings for $5 a month is a way better deal than only the rankings for $3 a month. I would never recommend. But I think for most people, the $5 a month tier is the best. Most people, I would say, don't need my higher tiers. Although I know some people enjoy them for the one-on-one, because that's what I offer my higher tiers. It's like one-on-one consulting. But I would say the majority of my patrons are at the $5 tier, and
Looks like I'm
I think
spending
that
another
works for
$5
most people.
today.
What?
Yeah, I'll drop a sub after this.
Oh, that's really sweet. You should get it. Yeah, I'll get you I'll give you the patron analyst tag.
Oh, for real? You got those?
Yeah, I have it because there are some analysts that just happen to be patrons, so I give them a patron analyst tag to like
Neat.
differentiate them as like extra smart posters.
Oh, you're saying I'm him. Let's go.
Oh, I mean, you're one of my favorites.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Who are a couple of higher value players you would believe would be? I can't talk. I'm used to Cal reading questions, but I read the questions on my own show, so I'm not that unused to it. Who you believe would be smart to move sooner rather than later in a tier down type of trade while their value is right? Tyreek Hill. Josh and I talked about that earlier.
You did talk about that, yeah.
We did, yeah. So Tyreek Hill is a good one. Christian McCaffrey we talked about earlier, and I would say
I have a decent amount of CMC, but not like too much.
Those are the two
CMC,
really high valued ones.
Yeah, Josh, I was kind of in and out when he was talking about him, but I think his point was that value installation sucks for CMC.
Yeah,
he's valued so high, and that's true because if he gets hurt again.
Too. Chubb as well is another.
Right now he's a round 2 startup pick. If he gets hurt again, he's probably like round like 4 or 5.
Chubb as well is another one.
Chubb's I'm never roster any Chubb in my leagues ever.
Yeah, so you don't have any to sell. All right,
but I got off.
This is an easy one. I got offered DK Metcalf, Irv Smith, and Damian Harris for Terry McLaurin and AJ Dillon.
Damn, yeah,
DK Metcalf.
Yep, pretty easy.
Where do you have Dotson now with the McLaurin
news? I think he was attacked halfway through typing it.
Yeah,
so couldn't finish his sentence.
I have Dotson at wide receiver 41 after the McLaurin news.
Let's see.
I had him at 34 before.
34. Wow. Okay.
So I had him at 34, and now I have him at not in redraft. This is a dynasty question.
Dotson right now is 43 in ADP.
So my 41 is pretty reasonable.
I see a couple guys lower that I would take, and a couple guys higher. I'd rather have Dotson. So yeah, it seems reasonable. I'll probably be 41. Around the same place as you.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, I'm just leaning into draft capital for him because the profile.
Exactly. That's why I don't want to drop him off the map.
But the profile is like
profile's bad, situation's bad, so I don't want to have him too high.
Right.
I say profile's bad, but it's not good.
Right. It's not like he never produced. It's just late production.
This
and then
class had
senior, and then he never produced like a Devonta Smith like.
This class had 5 players with good profiles. It's a varying degrees.
Dotson's not one of them.
Dotson's not one of them.
But he got draft capital, so that's something.
It's something. Cam Akers or Elijah Moore and 223 seconds.
Elijah.
I will take Elijah Moore in the seconds.
I'll take Elijah. What do I take?
I
take Elijah in 1 second.
I would have to pass on that one, but I'll take the 2 seconds.
Yeah. I don't know. Never been a big Akers guy. Not never. I think as a prospect. I haven't been a big Akers guy since he.
Funny, I didn't like him as a prospect. And then I became big Akers guy. What can you trade Watson for in 1 QB? Nothing. Well, 1 QB, just hold on to him, see when he comes back, and just don't bother. Don't waste your time trying to trade Watson in 1 QB. I got Kyle Phillips with the 1st and 3rd. Oh, Kyle Phillips, the Tennessee rookie. Oh, good. You got a bonus. Sure, take a bonus. Why not? There's an earlier trade. 2 questions from FF Lefty. One of my biggest supporters. So I appreciate that. I'm going to try to do that more often for some of the people who've really supported me over the years. At this point, years. I really just want to shout out those people. And, I appreciate that. Because those are the people that keep me going. So, 2 questions. Who's the most improved team in the NFL from last season? Why don't we just start with that? Who's the most improved team?
Damn.
I mean, if we look at, the standings from last year, I mean, there were a lot of teams that were bad. Like the Jets were very bad.
Jets or Giants stand out just because
I don't see the Giants as improved at all. I see the Giants as worse.
They got Neal and Thibodeau.
two players. I mean, they got Neal
Those
and
are,
Thibodeau.
I mean,
Those are
first
rookies,
rounders,
though.
both top 10 picks, right? I mean,
Yeah, but what else did they do? I mean, they actually removed a lot of players from their roster and failed to replace them.
I don't know. If it was on defense,
Giants
I
are.
wouldn't take them
I
to
mean, the
it.
Giants are 4-13. They were 4-13 last year. So how much worse could they be? But I actually don't
Right.
feel like they've made significant moves to really upgrade the roster. You want to talk about improved? I mean, the Denver Broncos. That's the
Improved,
team that improved. The
yeah.
Denver Broncos improved. They went from disaster to good. They were a
Improved in terms
disaster.
of wins versus building for the future. I could
I
see
really
like
do think it is the Denver Broncos, though. If you actually look at it, I mean, Denver Broncos were
Yeah,
7
they
and 10
definitely
last
did
year. They
improve.
had nothing at quarterback, and now they have something. So that's I would say that,
Right,
that
they're
if
a
I had
top
to
10
pick
pick,
one
I
team,
think.
they're the chalk team.
Now they're playoff team. Yeah,
Because like a lot of the teams, like if you look at the teams last year that were bad, Seattle was bad. I think they're going to be bad again.
Yeah,
You know,
Texans
Carolina was
bad.
bad. Atlanta was bad. I think they're going to
Mhm.
be bad again. I
Hell
don't
yeah,
think
hopefully. I hope so. I'm trying
Detroit.
to get Bryce Young, man.
Detroit, I think they were 3-13-1. I do not think they are going to be that bad. I think they're going to be. I think they could be more of a 7 or 8 win team. I don't think they're that bad. The Bears are worse.
That would
And
be
I think,
great for my many Goff shares in Dynasty
yeah.
Superflex.
I still think Goff doesn't hang on, but
You gotta
I
hope.
think he'll
Gotta
be
hope.
better. But yeah, a lot of teams, Washington, the Giants, I think those teams are going to continue to be bad. So it's really
maybe I
Houston
think
and
the Giants and Jets have set themselves up for the future well. Not that they're going to improve in the win column.
the Jets
but
are more likely to magically be good this year, I think, than the Giants, because
adding like multiple first round caliber players, like and especially top 10, is huge. Like, you know, one of those guys like becoming a
the thing is
superstar,
that
change the direction of a franchise. And
the
so
Giants are saddled with Daniel Jones, who we know is bad, whereas Zach Wilson still might be good. 1 year is not enough for me to decide.
right, but they both had him last year, so like in terms of
right, but we know Daniel Jones. I don't think year 4 Daniel Jones is not going to change anything from year 1
I know
through
what you're
3.
saying.
And the Giants sucked in all of those years. They were sucked in all of them.
Mhm.
So whereas Zach Wilson, I think there's a possibility for an upgrade. But the answer to this question is the Broncos.
Yeah.
They're the only real, looking at the standings, they're the only real answer. And then your favorite Super Bowl dark horse outside of the top 5 faves.
The top 5 faves. Bucks, Bills.
Yeah, I don't know who the
Chiefs,
consensus top 5 faves are.
Bengals, Chargers, Broncos.
I don't know if the Chargers are not in the top 5, they're one I would consider.
Yeah,
as,
I mean, there's a lot of teams that I don't know.
There isn't like a dark horse team that's standing out. A lot of people I don't feel like are talking about the Cowboys. But I just feel like with Mike McCarthy, that's going to set them back.
I know, right?
Yeah. I'd say the Chargers, because I don't think the Chargers are in most people's top 5.
I think they might be, just because they've added so much like defensively as well.
They didn't even make the playoffs last year, because you remember the people betting are like, yeah, they see Justin Herbert, but they see the Chargers. They didn't make the playoffs, so they're not.
I know. I saw someone like some poll earlier. I was like, who'd you rather have if you're an NFL GM, Burrow versus Herbert?
That was Herbert so easily.
Yeah, easily Herbert. I said this comment section is divided into 2 categories. People who I forget what I said. I feel like people who are right and people who think wins are QB wins are a real stat.
Yeah, Justin Herbert is so good.
He's insane.
Are we stockpiling 2023 first in the Dynasty Superflex League?
My boy, we've been stockpiling 23 first in Dynasty leagues. Yes, sir.
It's too late now. You should have been doing it already.
It might be time to trade some of them. Not all of them, but some of them.
Who are some guys that are way overvalued right now? How about this list? Juju, Gabe Davis, Cortland Sutton.
Yeah, pretty good list.
Yes,
Juju,
yes, and yes.
Receiver 27.
Juju is the most overvalued to me on this list.
At wide receiver 27, though, it's like, would you rather have him or Allen Robinson?
Well, I have Allen Robinson at wide receiver. Let's see. Oh, it's going to be a way down.
Yeah, keep scrolling.
I have Allen Robinson in Dynasty at wide receiver 46.
All right, so do you have Juju higher?
I do.
Where do you have Juju?
I have him at 43.
His ADP is 37. You're not far off.
Yeah,
Juju or Christian Watson?
Christian Watson easily.
Draft capital. Damn it. Juju or Hopkins?
I have Hopkins outside my top. I have Hopkins at 47, so even lower.
Yeah. Juju or Claypool?
I have Claypool at 42, one spot higher.
All right. Yeah. I mean, you're right along ADP. You're a bit lower, but I don't think you're that much lower. Probably lower on Gabe Davis. Just 'cause he's so polarizing.
I have Gabe Davis at 39.
Wow, he's 34 right now. Sutton at what?
Sudden, I have it 33.
He's at 29 right now.
So I'm
Damn.
lower on all of them.
Yeah, just by a hair though. I'd
Okay.
say
This one is so true. He literally sounded just like me.
what do you
was like,
say?
did
Talk
we
about
literally
what?
everything? He talked
Running
about the
efficiency?
red routes, never open, terrible, hadn't done anything since 2018. Was not the same guy, and the part where no one wanted him in free agency. He talked about that part too. I was like, yes, I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. This is why I brought you on the show. It's not why, but I was like, it was an added bonus. Drake London, 23 second, and Elijah Moore for CeeDee Lamb.
Drake.
Ooh,
Yeah, Drake.
that package is pretty appealing. I think I'll take the
Right.
package.
Yeah, me too.
It's close. I'll take the package though.
I mean, what's the one thing that CeeDee Lamb has going for him that's like vaulting him into the top tier?
Opportunity.
It's young. It's like young projected upside, right?
Yeah.
That's Elijah Moore and Drake London and picks. Like,
Yeah, I'll take the London side, but this trade is fair.
take the value. Like take the value. Take multiple assets over one overrated asset, and just continue being a fantasy nihilist.
I don't think Lamb is overrated, but I'll still take.
I think he is, but like fantasy nihilism is so good. Like being like everyone's overrated. Just sell for like big packages whenever you can. But yeah,
Cal just asked me how the show is going. I said it's still going. I'm gonna tell him that I'm over an hour and a half behind.
do we care how much Gabe Davison squat? No, we
No.
don't care. No,
Even
I
if
saw that
Godwin-
video. They weren't even squats. They
They weren't even squats. Even if Godwin comes back, Gage will get targets with no Gronk. Absolutely.
Gage is so mid. I can't believe people are like talking this.
Josh doesn't agree with you.
I mean,
And I'm somewhere in between you guys, I would say. I like him, not as much as Josh did. He wanted to take Gage over Juju. I disagreed. I would take Juju, but
Right,
even though I
that's
dislike
good.
Juju, but I definitely think better of Gage than what you're
drafting him for like 6 to 8 weeks of vacated targets at the beginning of the season is not that appealing to me. I don't even think he's a very good player. I think he could I don't know. I think he's a fine NFL player, but that's just doesn't give me fantasy points if he's a role player. I don't know. Wide receiver 3 or 4, not interested.
So this one, Rodgers in 23 third for 23 first, rebuilding. Is that
Assume
Aaron
super flex.
Rodgers?
Assume Superflex, assume Aaron Rodgers. Take the 23 first.
Yeah, I'll take it, but you can get more on the open market than this, and I know you
Really?
can.
You can?
Yes.
I've been trying to sell Rodgers in this one league. I don't know.
You can get more. Try. If you can't take it, but try.
Did I tell you about my Rodgers deal I just did? Not just it. It was a week or two ago. Traded Rodgers and T. Higgins for Deshaun Watson and Mike Evans.
Rodgers and T. Higgins for Deshaun Watson and Mike Evans. Wait, what? All right, Rodgers and T. Higgins.
Yeah? Okay. Really?
Is Kenny G? Yeah, I don't want Watson.
You don't
Is
want
Ken-
Watson? I have a
No,
lot. I think
I would want
Watson's tied for my most rostered quarterback
don't
right now
want
in
Watson.
Dynasty.
Nah.
But I not immediately, like a week later, I traded Mike Evans for Deontay. So that's pretty good.
Okay, that's good. Is
I know.
Kenny G worth more than a third? I'm gonna say no.
No, because you can draft upside
I'll
running
say no.
backs with a third, and Kenny G is just dust.
He's somewhere in the middle of the third in terms of value.
He's taking the Devontae Parker off ramp. He's cooked.
All right, here we go. Here's the question. All right, we don't need to get into it.
Okay.
And believe me, I'm not
Next
going
question
to.
then.
Just a yes or a no. Seeing a lot of 4 to 6 game rumblings for Watson. Are we believing that?
No. Next question. Yay.
Okay, Mr. Larkey. Oh God, an hour and a half behind.
This
Friendship.
verbiage tells me that the
Thoughts
friendship is
on
not gonna go
Deontay
very well.
Johnson. Does he fade? It's not going to go well if I'm here to answer. Thoughts on Deontay Johnson. Does he fade into obscurity because Big Ben isn't there to force feed him targets? I assume you're with me on no.
Yeah, no. Force feed him targets, fade into obscurity. No, come on.
Yeah.
Deontay Johnson is legitimately one of the best receivers in the NFL at earning targets. I mean,
Yeah, well, at earning targets. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not one of the best receivers in the NFL.
No, but at earning targets, in terms of a fantasy football skill set, and that's earning targets, he's got to be close to the top 5 receivers in the league.
He's
in a fantasy football skill set. Like if every wide receiver had the same situation, Deontay Johnson would be a top 5 receiver in fantasy football.
Could be. DJ Moore, Saquon?
Saquon, because points.
More. It's not Saquon.
I like DJ Moore. I like Saquon. I take Saquon.
Saquon's like a used car. The second you drive him off the lot, he loses a lot of his value because nobody likes him. Nobody likes him. I think I've done enough damage. I think I've done enough damage to Saquon Barkley's value in the Dynasty community that once you drive him off the lot, you'll never be able to sell him.
That's okay. I'll just take the 20 points per game he gives me.
He'll take the 3 games that he plays. That's what you'll end up with. You'll end up with the 3 games that he plays.
You sound like a salty Giants fan, man.
No, I'm not salty. I mean, I really liked him, but the problem is that he just doesn't. He doesn't produce. He doesn't produce. You at some point you have to do something, and excuses don't work. You don't get
get like
fantasy points for those excuses.
300 plus opportunities and
he's
top
not
5 receiving back.
He's not getting any of that. Yeah, no? None of that's happening. That was
who's getting carried? Who's getting carried? I mean, come on.
Well, whoever gets them, because it's not going to be. He's not going to get 300 carries.
No, 300 opportunities.
Oh, there's no way. He can't handle 300 opportunities.
No, you don't think so? I mean, he had it.
And how did that go last year when he got all those opportunities? It looked like garbage.
Got his ankle stepped on by Kadarius Toney.
Well, I mean, why did it take so long to recover from the ACL tear? It shouldn't have taken that long. He should have been ready.
No, that was exactly what you should expect. Year. Perfectly reasonable for an ACL injury.
In these days, I feel like it should. I mean, it shouldn't
9
have
to 12
been.
months.
I expected better. I expected better at that point.
Certainly, his high-end range of outcome was better, but
sure,
there's nothing wrong
for
with
someone.
12.
Sure, but for someone of his level, who supposedly has elite, which I haven't seen in many years.
Oh no, that was always, and this is me being hindsight, being told I was wrong, but that was always bad. So I'm told by actual doctors. But when you're an extra year removed, saying that he's like an elite athleticism.
Well, I didn't see any. Well, he should have done better. I think he should have done better. He should have shown me something at some point. At some point, there should have been something. Even coming back from the high ankle sprain, there should have been something. You can't tell me that there was nothing good. There was nothing good during that period of time. If he still had it, I would have liked to have seen something during that period of time to give me any positive indicator going into next year. I don't care what the doctor says. I didn't see anything. You would think it would come together for one. This is why I'm out on Ezekiel Elliott. I don't want to hear about the PCL as an excuse. Because he looked terrible. So why should I not feel the same way here? He looked like garbage down the stretch. And why should I take Saquon's injury as an excuse when I don't take Ezekiel Elliott's injury as an excuse? At some point, you have to actually produce. 3 years of excuses don't cut it.
I don't know. When you're actually a year removed from ACL injury, it's a lot better for your outlook.
But the problem is that we're a year removed from so many injuries. Like, there's so many injuries. I think that those injuries have, and this is something people don't talk about, that I think they don't talk about enough, in my opinion, is that injuries, it's the same thing with Juju. 2018 Juju was gone. Where'd he go? It's in the injuries. The injuries have zapped 2018 Juju, and that player doesn't exist anymore because he's been injured, and that has taken away from his effectiveness. And that's what's going on with Saquon Barkley. People don't want to talk about that, but that's what's happening here. So that player is gone. That player doesn't exist anymore. So if it doesn't exist, then it's not coming back. That's the problem. Once it goes, it doesn't usually come back. That player stays away after a period of time. If you had enough injuries, eventually those injuries add up. You're not the same anymore. Whereas it's not the same with someone like Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey, over the last 2 years, when he's played, is still elite. He comes back on the field and he's elite. Whereas Saquon Barkley looks like garbage. So that tells me that there's a difference. There's a systemic problem with Saquon Barkley. Whereas Christian McCaffrey has had an unlucky run of injuries. That's how I differentiate between the two. One player I think is on, mostly washed up, and the other is still good.
All right. Out of every running back with top 24 ADP in Dynasty, my ownership goes Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey. So
one player I'm fine with, and the other I don't want at all.
We're splitting the difference.
Christian McCaffrey I'm fine with.
We're splitting the difference. I'm winning every single 2019 league with this setup.
I will I'll sell Christian McCaffrey if I can get a really good offer. I'm not dumping him, but I'm dumping Saquon Barkley.
I
And
sold
I'll take DJ Moore.
McCaffrey 24 first, 24 second for Jamar Chase. I didn't have
I'll
to
do
give up
that.
any 23.
I'll do that.
Right. I felt good
That's
not giving up
that's
any
nothing to do with
23.
McCaffrey. That's to do with Jamar Chase.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
I felt I was like the chat was also surprised I didn't have to give up any 23s, but
I'll save
I
this
was happy
question.
about it.
I'll save this question for Josh because I don't know anything about his R.
I should buy it too. I want to become good at R.
I don't know anything about R. So
Do it. I've only heard good things about that course. So yeah, good idea.
the people should look into it though. I think it's gonna be 8.
Next question.
Next question.
Mumble something and then move on.
Well, don't get me started. A few minutes behind here. Well, don't worry. We're about an hour and a half behind, and we're not. We'll get there soon. How do you think Will Anderson will affect teams looking toward quarterback next year? I think multiple teams will prefer him as a prospect, and a team like the Bears could trade. I think that if a team doesn't believe in their quarterback and the quarterback they believe in is available, they will take the quarterback to fix the problem.
I'm looking up Will Anderson. I think he's a defensive player.
Yeah, Will Anderson is a pass rusher.
Yeah.
Picking a pass rusher is not going to solve anything. One good pass rusher doesn't get you out. I mean,
but he'll still go highly. I mean,
oh, he will, but a team is not going to pass on a quarterback that they need for Will Anderson. Now, how many generational quarterbacks are there? Or generational, but how many a top 3 graded quarterbacks are there going to be this year? I think there could be 2. Maybe there could be a 3rd. You never know. I mean, Joe Burrow came out of nowhere, so that we couldn't have predicted that. So, it could happen, but it's just a question of how many Burrow level prospects are there.
Right. And like it depends what team ends up in the top in the top.
Well, sure. Picks. I mean, there are teams that are more committed than others. I mean, if somehow the
Jets end up back there, they'll pick Anderson over a QB.
I think so, yeah.
And then who else? I don't have
But let's say that let's say that one of the teams with an entrenched quarterback has a quarterback injury and they end up in the top. We never want to wish it, but Justin Herbert or Joe Burrow has a serious injury. They're not going to go away from those guys.
Oh yeah. So I mean, their teams are too good to end up in the top 3, but if it's someone like the Bears, I think the Bears are the most likely team that have a entrenched quarterback and have a good shot of being a top 3.
Well, you know what I've said.
Yeah.
We know what I've said.
Team like the Bears could trade, maybe.
Trade away the pick for a big package or build around him. Yeah. If the Bears are in the
top. Or they
top.
could just pick Jackson Smith and Jigba. He could be a top 5. If the
Bears are in the top, they're either going to take the quarterback or trade the pick away. They're not going to take Will Anderson.
I don't know. Normally you see QBs.
The Bears are not one player
one
away.
More,
the Bears
one
are,
more year
the Bears are years of players away. One player is not going to do it. If they're picking that high and they're not going to take a quarterback, they need to get a haul for that pick from someone who wants a quarterback. That's what they should do. Juju and 203 or Olave?
I'm curious to see what you say here. What do you think?
I'll take Olave.
That's interesting. What would you say if it was Juju and Dotson or Olave?
I'll take Olave anyway.
Really?
Yes.
Dotson was drafted 5 picks later.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll take Olave anyway.
Really? Interesting. I thought if I put that in a player, you would change your mind. Okay, I would go with Juju in the pick. Well,
I
was gonna say it depends if it's super flex, but that's one quarterback goes ahead of 203. So
I don't want my team to be infested with failure. I don't want that.
But you get multiple shots on wide receivers. I take 2.
I don't care. I want
2,
one.
Like everything after wide receiver, 12, pretty much the same. So
no,
I'll take 2 of them instead of
at
one.
At that point, I want one player I actually believe in, and then we're getting to players I don't. So I'll take the one player I believe in over 2 shots from the cesspool that I don't.
I mean, they both got market value.
The tier of players I care about includes Olave and does not include Juju in the 2.
Oh man, what about Rachaad White?
Rachaad White is not in the group of players I care about. Rachaad White is a dart throw that I'm hoping might work.
He's a 3rd round running back. It's pretty good.
Yeah, but
pretty good capital, elite college receiver
profile. I'm looking for to say this is a guy who's guaranteed. This is a guy
who is my Where is he?
He's an older prospect who didn't do much until the last year. That's not someone that I'm saying. I'm not saying that I cannot say that player is a
He was a
guarantee.
JUCO player. It wasn't that he did nothing. It's just that he was a JUCO.
Well, then he didn't. But that's what I'm saying. He didn't participate at the higher level until later in his career, and then his first year,
I mean,
he
like,
didn't do
so did,
much.
like,
He
Marcus
finally did
Brown,
something
Brandon
at
Ayuk.
22 years old. I just that is not a profile that I can say yes, that is a guarantee. That is someone that I'm gonna say yes, this is someone that has a great chance of succeeding. This is someone who more than likely will not succeed, but if he does, has a high range of outcomes, given the offense that he's in, given his draft capital, given his receiving upside. So, if you look at it that way, he has a good chance of.
Wouldn't you take that upside? Like, even if it's like a low percentage chance, that upside.
Yeah, sure, but to take it, I have to give up on something else. So that's always how it works. Is what are you giving up to take that upside? What player are you not
the
taking to take him?
203-ish range? And so
Yeah, 203 is fine for him. Yeah, sure. I'll still take Olave over the package of those things.
yeah, Rashad White's like high end range of outcomes matters so much more than
I think Chris Olave's
especially in
high end
short
range
term.
of outcomes is much more likely to be hit and is not bad.
Right. I think it is. I think it's much more likely to be hit. Do I think that? I think it's.
I think Rashad
reasonable
White,
take.
the odds of Rashad White hitting his high end range of outcomes is low, very low.
All it takes is him starting. RBS DM.
Yeah, well, I'd rather take
One
a
Lenny
shot.
injury, and it's him.
I'd rather take a shot on someone else later. I much prefer like Tyrion Davis Price's price over Rashad White.
Tyrion Davis' price is price.
Yes.
The price is right. I
what
prefer
is
Rashad
this?
White, but I have high exposure to both.
Who is
because of both.
MCC?
CMC? Typo?
CMC. Is that what that is?
I mean, that offer makes sense for
That-
CMC.
well,
that
that's
doesn't
easy.
make sense.
No, it
I
doesn't
take
make
the
sense.
package.
Yeah, I'll take the package. So
But
easy.
if you're giving up so much, then yeah, CMC makes sense for those characters.
Yeah, package easily.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, what are you doing?
Gave
No.
Lawrence and Mac for Jalen Hurts.
I mean, you'll score
no.
more points this year, but no, I'm not taking that.
It's a big mistake. Sorry.
Banking on her, I would not bank on that.
I give that trade an F.
The thing about Jalen Hurts is, well, I wouldn't say he was a bad college quarterback, but he was not drafted like he was a good college quarterback. And so he wasn't. So we just lump him in and say he was a bad college quarterback, and then he was bad at throwing in year one, and he was bad at throwing in year two, but he rushes, so he gets you fantasy points, but I don't expect that to stick around.
All right, let's roll. So JT for Lance, 23 first and 24 second.
Lance.
Lance.
Let's go.
Would you rather trade a 23 first
Neither.
for Cortland Sutton or Mike Evans contending? Neither, and I'd have to be in a coma to do either one of these things.
Best receiver you traded 23 first for.
You mean worst?
Oh yeah, my bad. Yeah.
Michael Pittman.
Okay. Yeah, similar range. I'd say just on ADP, Deontay, because I think Deontay's ADP is lower than Pittman.
Yeah.
It is. I think it is based on a Dyko, but I'm loading it up.
Oh
right
yeah, I only look at DLFs.
I like DLFs, but the Dyko's updates like every day,
but
or every all the time. So
no way Higgins is better than Lamb. Yeah, we were talking about debating that. I feel like Lamb is better.
Lamb has a higher ceiling, but Higgins has a higher median, and then I want like Higgins has been better so far, and I want to do that because like I love being against CeeDee Lamb, but honestly,
you hate CeeDee Lamb.
It's tough because like I do think Lamb has a higher target ceiling, and so ceiling matters. Yeah, about even. I agree with Larky saying that's a push between those two.
I was hoping I'd get an SFB pick live during the show, but we're not going to get it. Barkley's more likely to have a productive season moving forward than injury. I think that
we're not going to rehash it. Don't bring.
We're not going to rehash it. Javon, scroll back like 20 minutes. Javonte and Judy for Jonathan Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor.
Deontay and Judy or Metcalf and Claypool. Deontay and Judy.
Yeah.
Deontay and Judy.
Yep.
12-team Superflex PPR. Would you trade Lamb and 23 first for Justin Jefferson?
Yeah, I would.
No.
Oh man, but Justin Jefferson just scores so many points, and he's like
I can't do it.
He's like 1 to 1.5.
No, this is the kind of trade you'd see me make in the other direction. For sure.
I like doing that trade when I can project the two players I'm swapping.
This is just the kind of
for
trade I do
similar-
all day. Like this
like
is how I.
one of my favorite heuristics is like swapping positions, like where you can get similar production and then adding a future pick. Like if I was going to swap like Javante for Lenny and a 23rd first, yes, I'll do that because they're both going around the same range in redraft, so I can project them for similar points. But I can't do that for Lamb and Jefferson, where Jefferson just
I
scores
don't-
so many more points.
I don't care. I want the 23 first anyway. Like you're almost always better off in these type of trades. If you have to think about it, you're better off with the side with the future first. If you even have to think about it at all.
I don't have to think about it. I'm taking Jefferson.
Sure. But I had to think about it. And I was like, okay, it's easy then. You almost always are better off taking the 23 first. Because 20, and Josh talked about this earlier. The 23 first is just going to ascend in value.
Maybe I don't think for like right now it's right now a first is like a fourth in startup value right now.
I
A
think
23
that-
first like a fourth in startup value, right?
I think
normally
that's
you'd see him
gonna-
be around a 6.
Yeah, I think.
So I don't
that-
think you're gonna see much ascension from here.
I'm not sure about that. As crazy
know.
as that is, I'm not sure about that.
It's tough because like looking at it right
If
now,
if it ends up being top half, I think it's gonna be better than fourth. I think that there are gonna be 6 players for 6 rookies in the first 3 rounds at least in startup data next year. That's what I think in May. At least 6 rookies in the first 3 rounds of Superflex startup ADP. Yeah. So then I do think there's.
I'd be
a chance
interested to see
increases.
that. But I don't think it's gonna happen.
I do.
I don't think any
calling
wide
this out
receiver, like just I think maybe one wide receiver could get there.
I mean,
Bijan will, and then 2 quarterbacks will, or
I
maybe
think it could be more than 2 quarterbacks.
I don't know, just based on
I think a wide receiver could get there. The wide
a top
receivers are
5 pick,
better.
a wide receiver could get there.
The wide receivers
but
next year have a better shot than the wide receivers
If
this
the wide
year. and
receiver goes like in the Drake London range,
the wide
then-
receivers this year were not that like Drake London is not that far off, and he is nothing compared to
right now, like Drake London's a 4th rounder, and so
yeah, and Drake London is nothing special as a prospect in any
he's a
way.
special prospect. He's like,
He's just okay.
yeah, he's not like Jamar Chase level, but he's like a level below that. Where
It's one of the worst wide receiver ones in a long time. I guess if you rated N'Keal Harry, I mean the 2019 was
Harry.
pretty bad.
Marquise Brown.
N'Keal Harry was. I mean, N'Keal Harry was a good prospect who busted.
Yeah.
People do revisionist history on that.
Right, he was a good prospect.
Good prospects
But,
bust.
yeah, 2018 had Ridley and DJ Moore go 24-26. Sorry, reverse.
DJ
Moore
Moore
went
was a pretty good
24.
prospect.
He was a good prospect. He just didn't go as highly in the NFL draft as Drake.
I think receivers are going higher in the NFL draft now.
I agree with that.
And I
And
think that
receivers also
changes
getting
permanently.
smaller, which is awesome.
Yeah, but I think receivers going higher in the NFL draft. I think DJ Moore in this year's
It's all
in this year's
Christian
class
Kirk's
would have been
fault.
top 10.
It's Christian Kirk's fault.
I agree. Is there a world in which you trade Javante or Chase in Dynasty? There's always a world.
Yeah, always a world.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, you just saw the offer that I might have taken for Chase, for example.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Not true. Not
Yeah,
true
which is
because none of it matters. None of it matters because that's data. That doesn't account for the fact that I can put my thumb on the scale. This is going to sound really obnoxious, but that's average. That doesn't account for how ruthless I am.
No, it's not. It's not average. It's saying like a Daiko looking at like thousands of leagues, and
But it
saying,
doesn't.
like,
No.
a
But
third
none of it
them.
matters. None of it matters because that's the big sample. Most of those people are not trying to trade them the way that I am. They don't hound everyone every day, going through every roster.
Ah man, if you're spending more than like 5 minutes trying to flip Snoop Connor for a feature third, I think you're expending a bit too much energy.
You're
for no
probably
benefit.
right that it isn't profitable, but I'm so competitive that I don't care.
Mhm.
It's not like I don't play Dynasty for the money.
Touch grass, bro. Come on, man.
But no, in all seriousness, I'm just saying that I think a lot of people are not trying hard enough, and I think you can do it. Doesn't take that much time. You know, you can spam offers easy, and I think a lot of people just don't put in the work. But trust me, you can. Trust me, I know you can. I do it every day. Like Patreon, it's like I'm not even doing it. I'm just telling them what to do. I see it every day. every
Wow.
day during
Last year I
the
was
season
in
every day.
some fish league, like some
How many Jeff Wilson sales did I do last year?
right. I flipped
How
Jeremy
many of
Nichols
those?
for a future second, just because
Who?
someone like sent me the offer. I'm like, all right, bet.
But what
It's
I'm saying
possible.
is
Certainly
I dealt
possible.
with these trades every day.
I do
They
agree with
do happen.
picking the RB, but not because you can flip them easily, just because you can get startable weeks more easily from them.
That's also true. And you know when to start them better because it's
Exactly.
more
Yeah, I'm
obvious
with
when
you.
they have
I
the
think Hunter
opportunity.
over KJ
But
Hamler.
the flipping thing is so true. And I just think that you have to capitalize on the window. It's not even that it works so hard. It's just your window is limited. And if you don't capitalize during that window, you don't get it. And you don't get the advantage of doing it. And it rewards the people who are active and pressing throughout the season, pressing for every advantage. And, I'm just going to assume that the people listening to this show are pressing for every advantage. So I'm going to tell you how to maximize it. If you're being, if you're more casual, it is what it is. But, I obviously assume most people, if you're here 2 hours and 45 minutes into the show, that you're probably not a casual Dynasty player, right? Like, how many casual Dynasty players are still listening to this show?
Facts.
Right? Like, I traded. Okay, Johnny thinks he messed up. I traded DK Metcalf for rookie pick 102 and 23 first. I
pretty
don't
good.
think you messed up at all. I think he did a
I
great
take
trade.
that. Yeah. Draft
Yeah, you
director
even
Pat.
answered it right here. Yeah. No, I think he did a good trade.
Yeah.
How much more on top of rookie 107 is ETN worth?
Couple
Maybe like
seconds.
another early second or so.
Yeah, a couple future seconds, maybe an
Yeah,
early
a couple of
second.
seconds.
But I think ETN. I'd rather have ETN over 107 in the early second. Talking to Josh, but he's long gone.
Yeah, I know.
Jesus.
Yes. Is Claypool a hold? His stock is at a low, and Deontay may be gone next year. I mean, the only difference between Claypool's rookie and sophomore second years were touchdowns. So, yeah, it's just more of a vibe.
He was legitimately like bad last year. A lot of metrics.
Yeah, I would say, but at this point,
I don't love reception perception, but like when reception perception has like a 5% percentile success rate, that's really bad. And
I know
his rookie season being the same except for touchdowns, you expect a leap in their second season, right? So not taking a leap is bad. And so
I'd still hang on to him because I don't know what else you can do. Nobody wants him. Nobody wants him.
Claypool, ADP right next to Pickens. I take Pickens.
It's not right, but that's not realistic. You
No,
can't.
you don't think so?
No, you can't actually
Selling
make
him
that
for an
move,
early
no.
second?
No. You
Sell
can't.
him for Michael Thomas?
There's no way.
I'd take Kadarius Toney over him. You don't think that's realistic?
That's realistic, but I wouldn't do it because I don't want Kadarius Toney.
I don't want Chase Claypool. Chase Midpool.
I'm not even sure you could get Kadarius Toney. I think Chase Claypool's market value is so low. I haven't seen him moved. So.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of him.
He's pretty mid.
I have a lot of him to try to move, and there's been no luck.
Right now, the expectation for him is like a wide receiver 4. So
yeah,
I don't know. Get out while the getting out's good, because honestly,
I don't think you can.
Taking the DJ Chark route.
I don't think you can.
Just one good season.
Carr or Tua?
Fuck. Carr. I don't think Tua's good at throwing. I think he could be, but I don't think he is.
I'm gonna take Carr.
Taking Carr. Yeah.
Toronto Dave. Dynasty 10 team. Superflex start 10. Gabe Tua and DeAndre Hopkins. Got Mac Jones and Mike Williams. Thoughts?
Yeah.
Mac.
Pretty good.
Yeah, sure. It is one of those mad trades.
It's good. Yeah. I mean,
we did all of this.
Mike over. I'll take Mike over Hopkins in redraft.
I'll take Tua over Mac though.
I think I'll take Mac. Tua has like a couple more points of rushing upside, but I think Mac's a better quarterback. I know it's a total mid off.
I'm team Corey Davis, baby. I'm not. Yeah, it was a myth. It was all a lie. Fake news. Yeah, no. Oh my god. A recorded song to you?
No, I can record one though.
Please do. AJ Dillon has the talent to be a starting running back, but do you think we ever see him starting Green Bay? I'm gonna say yes.
I don't think he has the talent to be a starting running back.
I think he does, and I think we do. I think we see him starting Green Bay this year.
He's pretty mid, honestly. He's like a committee back.
No, I think he's
high end range of outcomes as being a committee back. Low end range of outcomes being a committee back.
No, I think the high end range of outcomes is being top 5. So no, we don't agree.
Yeah, I don't know.
We don't agree.
Small sample, like
No,
not
I
small
think the
sample,
high end
but,
range of outcomes is Derrick Henry's career path with some receiving work, which would be
oh,
one.
uh,
Like actually, like that's
like
actually what
real,
I
like
think.
if it's like anything's possible, sure, but like
No,
realistic,
I don't think that that's that unrealistic. So
really?
I don't think he's going to hit it because you do ever project. I mean, I don't usually project players to hit their high end range of outcomes, but I
No,
think that's what it is.
I don't know. I don't think Henry's ceiling is very realistic.
Oh, well, we'll have to see. I think.
Like Henry's a 2,000-yard rusher. He's really
Well, I mean, and if I'd asked you
volume
what you
king.
thought about Derrick Henry after his first 2 years in the league, what would you have said?
I would say that he's probably not very good, but I mean, I
Right.
don't
So
think
here we
anyone
are.
expected Devontae Adams to become Devontae Adams. I don't think you'd
Right,
expect him
but
to.
I'm just saying that I think that it's in there, right? Like when you ask for a ceiling based on someone's talent or their
I
ability.
don't know. So little RBs even like get close to Derrick Henry's opportunity share.
You're right. But Derrick Henry didn't have any opportunity share really in his first 2 years. So I
I don't know.
I
If Nico Collins looks like Devontae Adams, do you say he has Devontae Adams in his range of outcomes? Technically, but I wouldn't expect it. Or I wouldn't
no,
even
I
say it's
wouldn't.
a ceiling.
No, I'm basing it on more than that. It's I don't think Nico Collins has any of that ability at all.
Yeah, me neither. But you're saying that because Derrick Henry wasn't good to start his career, that AJ
No, I
Dillon's
just think
good?
that AJ Dillon is good. And I think that he has draft capital. He really, he spent most of his first year out with COVID. And then his second year, he came in and, took a decent sized rushing share on a good offense. And now, it's if he continues progressing in year 3, he could be good. I see him as a good player. He looked good to me. He's a player I would want to be my starting running back if I were running an NFL team.
Yeah.
So
I
I
don't
just tell him in.
I don't know. I feel like just gonna split carries the rest of his career.
Maybe.
Like even if the Aaron Jones leaves, probably just bring someone else in, right?
Maybe not. I mean, how many teams don't bring someone else in? Like, what is it?
Exactly. Yeah, right.
Pittsburgh. So if you're going to limit it to only players who don't split carries, you're not going to have any running backs on your team.
Yeah.
Like if it were AJ Dillon and Jamal Williams, I don't think anyone would be concerned.
Yeah.
So anyway, do either of you guys have anything positive to say about Will Fuller V?
I love Will Fuller, man. Not like
he's done
like
though.
I know I understand like you not like him in Dynasty because he's not on a team or anything, but like I just have such a soft spot for him because I think he's so much fun. I love when people call a player injury prone because I get to champion them. So yeah, I like Will Fuller and I have a good amount of him in Dynasty. So
He's just not
July 12th, a couple minutes will be July 13th. Still not signed to an NFL team. I don't care, man. Fuck it, we ball. When he signs, I'll be happy.
I'm worried he's not going to sign.
Nah, he might not. I don't know.
I'm starting to get to
Until
the
he
point
retired on my team.
I'm starting to get to the point where that's a possibility, and that's why I've lowered him in my rankings. So I didn't believe it until recently, but now I see it.
How much?
Early
do I have
2020 is
then?
when Toronto Dave started things. The
Oh,
people
nice.
miss
He's
Cal.
yeah, Fuller's like I have 31% of Fuller right behind, like tied with Laviska Shenault, Jacob Myers. Neat.
Yeah, the people miss Cal.
I
They
never
do.
loved these guys.
Yeah, this show would not have been 3 hours with Cal.
I know.
I get off track.
Sorry.
So
You get me instead. Sorry.
yeah. Josh is one of my all-time favorite TikTokers.
Spell favorite right, please.
Oh my god,
You damn Canadian.
Larky does work on TikTok. He does. This is definitely Juju's third last chance. Even if nothing, year 1 with Mahomes, the diehards will be done. I think all but the
thing I
diehards
noticed
are
about
done.
really truth there is he never spells Mahomes right. He's like one of the most popular players in the NFL.
All right, let's keep it rolling. Tyler's short videos are awesome. Thank you. The NYC Stroll thing is cool. Thank you. I love it. I know it's kind of a gimmick, but I love it.
It appeals to my goldfish sense. Like what's it? I don't know. I already moved on. That's I have no attention span. That's what it is.
I'm sure I would love Larky's OG TikToks. Can I get each of your choices for rookie pick 102?
Drake, not the
I'll
rapper.
take
Drake
Walker.
London. Let's go. It's not a homer thing. He was always my 102.
The Cult of Tyler are a strong group. Glad you're feeling better. Thank you. I am better. 100% better. And yes, the Cult of Tyler, is strong, and I appreciate everyone in it. Oh, yes.
Let's go.
Starts it as wild. Analysts really start bringing up obscure stats.
Facts. Be like,
about receivers in the
he's
dome. Yeah. No, I don't do any of that. I keep starts it simple. I just try to give my recommendation for what I think is going to be the best. I don't try to bring in any of this
right.
complicated shit.
Just start
So,
whoever is gonna score more points. It's really easy.
yeah, exactly. I recommend who's ever going to start more points.
Mhm.
At pick 103, I have my choice between Ken Walker and Garrett Wilson. Who should I take? I'll take Walker.
I'll take Wilson.
I'm not sure.
I'm with Josh on
I'm
Kenneth
not
Walker.
sure. Yeah, I like Kenneth Walker though. I'm not.
Future Rojo.
No, I'm just
No, what's the
sure
difference between them?
that Walker doesn't suck.
No, why does Rojo suck?
Rojo has some issues. He can't.
He doesn't catch passes, right?
Right, but
Bad
I think
hand.
Walker actually can catch passes. I think we're gonna see.
I think
we're gonna
hands.
see that he doesn't have hands of stone like Rojo.
They both have identical college receiving profiles.
Well, I think just because they have identical college receiving profiles doesn't mean that the NFL production is going to be the same.
Right.
And I think
Takes
that
that arc though. The moral arc of Kenneth Walker's career is long, but bends towards Ronald Jones.
I don't think so. It can't be that bad.
I'm trolling. I'm low-key trolling.
Just join, but not sure if someone already asked. How much does Zach Wilson's stock go up now? Now that we know he has that dog in him.
I think I moved him up to right after Chase and Jefferson in Dynasty. He's up there.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Up to me.
Thanks again, Dave, for the super chat. Yeah, well, if you had thousands of Twitter responses, you wouldn't respond to me. No, I don't know. I try to get to everybody, but hey, we're still here. I'm getting everyone on this show. I get to everyone on the show on Twitter. Just sometimes I just can't.
Am I reading this right? What's wrong with this trade, bro? What the fuck?
Yeah, I'll take McCaffrey.
Yeah, what the hell?
But yeah, no, I like to get to everyone on the show. That's why we're still here on Twitter. I've stopped putting pressure on myself to make sure I get to everyone. It's like I'll do my best, but it's like it's Twitter. If I missed some comments here, some comments there, not the end of the world. But I make sure to answer all the questions for everyone who tunes into this show, even if it takes 3 hours.
I'm finished. Damn it.
Don't hurt him. All right, started a 12-team PPR Superflex 13 flex.
What? Whoa, holy shit.
That's excessive.
Hell yeah. Have fun. Good luck.
Yeah. Okay, 203 and 910 or 507, 606 and 23 first?
The latter.
The latter. Yeah, I'm with you. Javonte and Junior JT, we answered that. Baker going to Cook week 1, sell for 23 first after Browns game. Anyone in any lifetime gives you any first round pick at any year for Baker Mayfield, take it.
You taking a 2073 first or Baker Mayfield?
I'm not even going to be alive then.
No, are you
but
taking
no,
them?
usually you can go out to 25, and I'd take a 25 first.
You said any first, man.
Well, you can't trade them. They're not on the platform.
Just pin a chat in your league.
You can't do that. What do you guys think is the best case scenario for Antonio Gibson?
Multiple RBs on his team.
Josh hates him if you were listening to the show earlier.
What'd he say?
Oh, Josh is really out on Gibson.
Yeah, me too.
He has that video where he's like, he needs 2 injuries to be a league winner kind of thing.
That's what I was saying.
If
both other RBs on his team get hurt, then
I think Gibson's high-end outcome is being a low-end RB1 again, just from some touchdown luck, which can happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's the best case scenario is a low-end one.
Oh, this one's like everyone. I don't know.
A player, okay, but like a player, I'm worried I could be wrong.
I once called Jalen Waddle the next John Ross. So
hey, I was in on Jalen Waddle, so I got that one.
Everyone, I could be wrong on anyone.
No, like a player where if it's wrong, I'm like, oh wow, I've like really taken a strong stance and I've been really wrong. I think is what he's asking here.
Strongest stance relative to ADP.
For me, it's probably. I'm just not that worried about. I'm not that worried about being wrong about Saquon Barkley. That's the thing. Like I'm confident.
For me, it'd be Jerry Jeudy. I feel like he's the highest ADP. And not like he's super high. He's like
I'm right with
6th round pick, but like everyone else, I see a case for them. I'm just really out on Jeudy. But if he actually is legit and I'm wrong, then his value probably skyrockets. Not skyrockets, but it goes up a decent amount where he's probably like top 15, top 10 receiver. If like he hits his high end range of outcomes with Russ, then I definitely think I could take a big value hit there.
So yeah, one I've been passing on and one I've been all over. I would say one I've been all over where I have a slight concern that I just like we're gonna look back at this ADP and it's not gonna make much sense. We're gonna be like, what were we thinking taking this guy in the first round? Is actually DeAndre Swift. Like DeAndre Swift has never really done it over a full season, but his ADP and value is so high. I could see that being a bad miss in the future, especially since I even have him higher than his ADP.
He wasn't a good rusher last year, but he's just a receiver.
So DeAndre Swift, I would say, is one I've been all over. That and AJ Brown is the other, where I am a little concerned that Jalen Hurts could take him down.
I feel all right about Swift because the Lions' offensive line is so good, and that's a big driver of RB.
It's not that. I'm just worried that Swift gets injured again, or it just doesn't look. The rushing efficiency doesn't come together. Doesn't have much to do with the surrounding pieces.
No, I'm talking about the line because like that's such a big driver in RB efficiency. So,
but
him I'm not really worried about RB efficiency. Like,
but yeah, it's
I guess it's like a small factor. But
Swift and AJ Brown are
Brown is one.
There aren't that many other players at the high end that I'm super like overweight. I mean, I'm overweight on Garrett Wilson, I would say. In terms of someone I'm passing on, I mean, yeah, it is Saquon Barkley. But I'm not really scared of Saquon Barkley.
I have Marquise Brown in over half my leagues. That might come back to me. But I mean, I do it for the brand.
I'm just not that scared of Brown being that bad. I'm trying to think like, I mean, I've been pretty out on Gabe Davis, and I am worried that could look very dumb.
Oh yeah, he definitely has a high ceiling in theory.
Yeah,
so
he has a high ceiling. But yeah, Gabe Davis and Saquon Barkley are probably the ones where I have the most, maybe a little bit with Juju. But I'm just not as worried about Juju.
Jalen Hurts, I think, would be actually the biggest, not Judy, because if he is actually good, and I don't expect him to be,
but I'm pretty high on Jalen Hurts, so
I'm not that high. I mean, I understand that he scores points, but I just like don't believe in him long term. And so if he does show long term and if he is actually good at throwing, then he's probably round 1 startup pick or like high round 1. Like I'm talking like around like Lamar and Kyler tier. And so that could be a big loss of value if like I miss on him and have none of him and he rises that much.
Yeah. I do have maybe a slight additional concern with what was I thinking?
What would you need to move from Lamar Jackson to Jalen Hurts? Multiple firsts?
Multiple. 123 first is not enough.
Right. So if Hurts makes that ascension to that tier and you lose out on multiple firsts of value, that could be. I think that fits the question. I'd be worried about being wrong on that because
I'm more talking about a take wrong than a.
No, okay. I got you.
Yeah, like
take my whole brand around. You stay like if you stick your whole brand around Gabe Davis being bad and he's good, then
I mean, I feel like last year I put my whole brand going into 2021. My whole brand was around Carson Wentz and Juju being bad, and I think that ended up being okay.
Yeah,
like I think that ended up being okay. This year, I mean, it's still Carson Wentz, it's still Juju. Saquon has joined the crew of players that I'm very.
Dalton Schultz, maybe. No, he's not.
I don't have a strong take on Dalton Schultz. I'm very much with everyone.
I don't most of the time, but like then some people on Twitter are just like way too high, and so
I just like, I just feel like I'm more known for the players I'm against. Like, who am I really for? Like, I guess I'm for a lot of the Dynasty community's analysts' favorites: DJ Moore, Deontay Johnson,
CeeDee Lamb,
Chris Godwin. CeeDee Lamb. Those are players I'm for, whatever that means. But a lot of Dynasty analysts are in on those players. A lot of analysts, but not the public are in on those. So like I don't like the player I guess I'm the most in on, different from others, probably Garrett Wilson. Having him ahead of London,
Yeah. That's pretty big in ADP, but I can't imagine you have him that much higher than 19 in your rankings.
I have him at 15, which seems insane reading it. But
that does seem a bit high. Yeah. Higher than Deontay? Higher than DJ Moore?
Lower than Deontay and DJ Moore.
Higher than Drake, I know that. Higher than Pittman?
Yeah, I have Pittman at 18.
Okay, then that's, I guess, the discrepancy. Higher than Terry and Mike Evans.
Oh, yeah. I have Evans at 24 and McLaurin at 25.
So do you have him
McLaurin, higher? I guess, is a player that scares me a bit because I'm very out on him and he's good. which
And
is
that's just
scary. That's a scary place
just
to
an
be.
offshoot of the Carson Wentz.
Yeah, it's scary to be out on a player you think is good. That is a scary position.
Yeah.
All right,
Situation
let's.
matters more when you're like 27
Yeah,
versus
I
25.
know, and that's why I'm out on him actually, exactly for that reason. But
Right, his value is going down like
with Mike Evans, I'm out
gradually right
too.
now,
But
but
Mike Evans is older, so it's not. I know Mike Evans is going to produce. That's more of a different decision.
yeah.
Knox.
Why did we skip the next comment? We don't have to.
Pittman.
Oh, sorry. Never mind. The one after this. My bad.
Yeah.
What is this?
Take Pittman here, but yeah, it's
Not
24. How do you know it's a
24.
20? How do
You
you
don't
know
know
it's a
shit,
top 20?
bro.
Yeah, take
Come
Pittman.
on.
Yeah, take Pittman.
Yeah,
Lamb's
we
gonna
keep
blow
it
up this
going.
season. Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah, okay. This tanking discussion.
Yeah, man.
Whatever.
Unless like explicitly said.
We don't need to talk about that.
Don't worry.
All right. Worst running back you would trade a 23 first for? So let's say in a 1 QB, I would
based on ADP.
Yeah, in a 1 QB, I'd give a 23 first for
Travis Etienne.
Yeah, but not Dobbins.
Not Dobbins.
In a super flex, I'm not even going to risk it for Etienne. It's way higher, I would say. Even Walker, I'm probably not going to do it. Yeah, actually,
Wait,
Eckler.
Implying that you have Walker ahead of Etienne?
I do.
Oh, I don't agree with that.
Yeah, I do.
Etienne just has like a lot higher upside with pass catching.
For now, I still have Walker ahead.
Pass catching is big for RB.
We'll see what Etienne is doing in camp. We'll see. But for now, I have Walker.
Etienne has like top 5 in his range of outcomes. Walker's a rookie.
I think Walker does too.
Top 5?
I do.
You think he catches passes, so I guess that's the discrepancy.
I do. Yeah, why? I mean, I think he could.
Would you trade it for in Superflex? Would you trade it for Eckler?
Oh, it's Eckler and Mixon.
I would trade. I would take the 23 first over Mixon.
Yeah, I'm looking at my rankings. I think I have Mixon too high. I'm just not that.
Yeah, Mixon. I used to like him.
I'm just not confident enough.
Now
I don't think
high. He's like 20. Well, how old is he? 25, almost 26.
Eckler, I fully believe Eckler's going to give us something great.
Right. The thing about Eckler just has that receiving to hit the ceiling repeatedly, whereas Mixon needs the volume and needs touchdowns. So it's a bit harder.
Mixon is like 1 year younger than Cook, and I've been holding that and Eckler, and I've been holding that over them. But maybe I'm too in on that.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, also saw a screenshot where Deontay was traded for Christian Kirk. No,
bro, what the fuck?
Don't do that. I mean,
Conan, yes. Could we get him in here too? It'd be a real party.
If I had more energy, I would.
Another day. I love. I think I was talking with Conan on this. Was it around the time of the draft? But
it might have been on this draft stream.
He's a lot of fun.
The draft stream is what gave me one of the games.
Conan, are you going to the expo?
Yeah.
Please go. Please.
All right. Yeah, you can put them on your taxi squad. Put them on there. Hey guys, new Dynasty. Oh, okay. Format question. New Dynasty Superflex Tight End Premium League. Will you go quarterback 4 points or 6 points? PPR half or 1?
Well, PPR.
What's your preference? Full PPR. Quarterback.
6 point.
Yeah, I'm fine with either. Probably no. Actually, I have no preference. They both work for me.
Yeah, they both.
PPR
you just have to adjust accordingly.
PPR over half, but
yeah, definitely PPR.
4 or 6, no difference.
I only operate.
Adjust, but no difference. Appreciate you, dudes. I appreciate you. Thanks for getting my question. Yes, I'm gonna get. I told you I'd get to all the questions, even if it kills me. Guys sold everyone except Herbert. Yeah, the top 4 pick. Yeah, I mean it's 2 years from now, so.
Hey man, Herbert can score 100 points per game. We don't know what his ceiling is.
Yeah, no, for sure. Damn.
We already had questions. Come on, let's get the questions going. I have a lot more energy.
No, that you do. All right. Well, I appreciate everyone who's listened to over 3 hours of this show. The show will not always be this long. Cal doesn't allow it because he actually keeps us on track and gets us to go a little faster. I'm very slow. But yeah, no, just tell the people where they can find you.
All right. YZR_fantasy on Twitter and TikTok. Follow me on TikTok. I post okay videos every day.
Yeah. So for me, it's right there. Tyler, 5th grader. Like and subscribe to the DLF channel. Also give a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll make a comment from my channel at some point so you can find it. And otherwise, just appreciate everyone for watching this marathon stream. And next week we will have Ryan McDowell, so it will be very exciting.
Damn,
I'm very
I should have
excited
jumped on
for
that
it.
one, man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cal will be here to read the questions and keep everything in check. But I thank everyone for sticking with me for over 3 hours. And I will see you all next week. Peace.